Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. We are at episode 5. My name is Patrick, I'm once again joined by Josh, Seth and Steve. A bit of a lighter agenda for today's show, not as many things to discuss. We also might have this going up a bit later than usual because we couldn't record the normal day we were because, Josh, you have left your job.
I have, obviously not for the podcast reason, but I decided that it was time to move on from my current role, and I'll be starting a new one tomorrow, so apologies for pushing the date back, guys.
And if we were to have recorded our original day, what state of mind would you have been in?
Absolutely smashed. Very drunk. It would not have been coherent, for sure.
He would have been recording in a bar.
Bit of live action from on the scene, and of course, not the only person to have an alcohol-related dependency come up recently. Steve, you are sounding a little bit worse for wear today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good now. This morning, though, I was about to call the CEO of alcohol to get him to cancel alcohol and say that we found some tweets that we didn't really like. It was pretty rough this morning. The karaoke will do that to you. Kicking on at 2 a.m. will do that to you. But the important thing is I got my Macca's feed. I slept for about 4 hours, and we're ready to go. We're ready. We're pumped. We're amped.
So when you get a Macca's feed, wild tangent, I know. When you get a Macca's feed, are you one that buys up, eats up, and then goes to bed, or are you one that buys up, eats a bit, and then saves the rest, expecting to wake up feeling terrible, the next day, and then you have Macca's in the fridge?
No, Macca's in the fridge is an abomination and should be wiped off the
Definitely
face of this
agree.
planet.
Yeah, God, who
Solid-
ever leaves
solid
Macca's
agree.
in the fridge?
Maybe just leave it out for the flyers. The flyers can have a bit of Macca's
I
as a
mean,
treat.
if you do what I've done in the past, you just Uber Eat something, wake up like 5 hours later.
So sometimes your previous drunk self will just do you a solid, and you'll just wake up and it will be in the fridge, but you won't have any idea how it got there. You're just glad that it's there.
Yeah, that's good as well. But it's better than not having it, I guess.
I think we can all agree on that.
Also, big news. They have a Tim Tam McFlurry there.
Maybe where you are.
Only in Australia. Yeah.
Well, come over, get the Tim Tam McFlurry, and then go.
Tim
It's
Tam
amazing.
McFlurry.
It's really good.
Do they have
Damn.
Tim Tams in NZ?
We need to figure something out for people that don't have Tim Tams.
Well, they are available in America now, Tim Tams, but TLDR, chocolate covered biscuit with like chocolate on the middle of those biscuits.
It's like a Kit Kat, but better.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, it is. I mean, we're used to the what have we got? We got the Oreo McFlurry, M&M McFlurry, and
The flake.
there's like a hidden forbidden third one, but it's not Tim
Oh.
Tam. I forget what.
Yeah.
Is it Flake or?
Oh, Flake. Yeah, it'd be Flake. Yeah.
Yeah. We have the flake ones here as well. They're pretty good. The Tim Tam though, for anyone that doesn't know what a Tim Tam is and has access to them, do we talk about like the Tim Tam Slam?
See,
Oh God, yes, please.
That's a uniquely Australian thing,
Is
I
it?
think, because even me trying to describe it to other people in New Zealand, they can kind of figure out what it is just based on the name, but it's not common. It's definitely not a common thing. But yeah, feel free to describe
Right, so basically you bite the corner off a Tim Tam because they're a rectangle shape, and you bite the corner off the opposite corner off, and you put it in like a milk or like chocolate milk or whatever. It doesn't really matter what type of milk, and you suck through it because it's got air in it. You can suck the milk through it, and it becomes like this hot melty mess if you have it in tea, or it just becomes like the flavor of the chocolate milk or whatever you're drinking if it's cold, and it's so good. You just like eat it whole after that. Oh, it's amazing.
Did you just say you have the Tim Tam Slam with tea?
You can have it with tea or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It just adds like chocolate to it.
the
It doesn't
fuck?
matter. It's so good.
That definitely seems like the suboptimal drink to
Better
have
than
it
coffee.
with. Milk, I was on
I'm
board
just gonna
with.
have my peppermint tea with my
Mate,
Tim
they
Tam
make
Slam. Jesus,
peppermint
I'm gonna
Tim
have a
Tams,
fucking
man.
stroke. That's the worst idea I've ever had.
Have you ever tried to do it with like one of the gooey scented ones? Does it work as well?
I don't know. I don't know if it works.
I think I had when they had that that Macron guy Zumbo, whatever his name was. They did that fusion, and I think I tried, but because like the center's a bit hard, it wasn't as good, but it's still good though.
Oh, I'm sure it's still good. Do you guys have squiggles over there?
Squiggles? I don't know what that
The
is.
fuck is a squiggle?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it's like I don't know, like a crunchy chocolate bar or like hokey pokey flavored like biscuit. You can't slam it, but it's like a real similar. It has a real similar niche to Tim Tams in terms of just being good with
It sounds
drinks.
like those TV snacks. Do you guys have those? Maybe not.
No, I feel like we're just getting wildly off topic to the point where we're just going, do you have this specific brand to the country where I'm from? No, I've never heard of TV
Well,
snacks.
they're like TEEVEE, and they're like basically tiny Tim Tams, and you just like bite sized, and you same. That's what it sounds like.
I feel like they're a bit more biscuity than being like a
A
Tim
little bit more
Tam.
biscuity, yeah. Or pods. Pods are also amazing.
I had the Krispy Kreme TV snacks, and they're fucking red hot dog shit. Do not recommend.
Oh, the Krispy Kreme Golden Gate times were also dog shit.
No, they were. You take that back right now.
It was too sweet.
There's no such thing.
There is such a thing.
Well, guys, so welcome to the snack cast. We're now talking about snacks.
I will say, I don't have those, but Krispy Kreme, just as like the donut, they were doing a Pokemon promotion. It was like Pokemon X Krispy Kreme.
Oh, they did
and
too.
Gotta say, rather good.
Yeah, we had that as well, but I didn't have the money to get them at the time. I know someone that did though.
Yeah, I didn't eat them, but they looked good.
Yeah, they tasted pretty good too. I'll be honest. Cool. Anyway, probably should actually crack on with the agenda for this evening. We'll do a quick round the lounge. Shall we start with Josh, because I know that your upcoming is relatively empty.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've had a very busy week starting and finishing a new job, so I haven't really got too much on my plate. Obviously, I was still wrapping up the sort of end game of Pokemon, which I think there's a few guys you want to bring up something about it later, Steve. As well as there was a Minecraft update for anyone that does play Minecraft, and they basically completely overhauled the entire world. So spent a little bit of time in there recently. Does anyone here tried the new Minecraft update?
Not yet. I've had a few people from a Discord we share try and coerce me into giving it a crack, and maybe I will, but just haven't had the time yet. Had some other things on my plate.
Did you end up trying it?
Yeah, and I'm always worried about jumping straight into Minecraft because it always feels like it's all right. This is all I'm doing for the next 20 years.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. But they basically extended the world height by 60 blocks and increased the depth of the world where Bedrock was by another 60 blocks. And completely overhauled the caves, completely overhauled the mountains, and it's a whole different world. Like even the ores and everything, like diamonds spawn at different levels, stuff like that. So it's it's a very different game now, and you kind of really have to adjust to what it is. But people that play Minecraft to build things, nothing's gonna change. So yeah, thought I'd bring that up. But that's kind of it for the Minecraft stuff without going too deep into it. And Pokemon, I think you wanted to dig into, right, Steve?
Yeah, I've been playing Pokemon as well. I'm also going back in time and playing Halo 4 and probably eventually Halo 5 because Infinite single player campaign comes out on Thursday or Friday pretty soon. And I'm just sort of getting back into the routine.
Getting your hype train all powered up. About to leave the
Oh,
station.
it's already left the station. The second
it's already at full steam?
Yeah, the second that beta dropped 2 months ago, we're on a one-stop collision course. Cannot wait, very keen. But yeah, it's just going back and revisiting Halo 4 and learning the controls again because they're very different to what the controls are for Infinite.
So when you went back to play the older Halos, why didn't you pick a good one?
Well, because I knew I wouldn't have enough time. The original intention was to play from 1 to ODST, 3 and Reach. But then the Infinite multiplayer dropped early. And it was like, alright, well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, fair enough. 4 was alright.
Sweet.
I give it a hard
wait
time.
to discuss bits of that. And Seth, what have you been up to this week?
Yeah, I played and finished Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and I watched the first 2 Persona 3 movies. So those are going to be pretty chunky topics, I find.
Sweet. Well, I suspect we'll probably end up spending the most time talking about Ratchet and Clank, so I might leave that till, I don't know, the feature story or whatever the equivalent is whatever the show is.
The part where we usually talk about one big game that we've all been playing at the same time for 40
Yeah,
minutes.
and crazily enough, it's one that hasn't come out this week.
Yeah,
Which
I know.
Probably a nice change. Well, in that case, should we just chuck it back to Steve? Shall we deep dive a little bit more into the Halo 4, and then move on to the Pokemon? How does that sound?
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, so long story short, I've been picked up Halo 4 as part of the Master Chief Collection, which is very different how I originally played Halo 4 on the 360 when I got it day one with my very big collector's edition. But yeah, I'm playing it through the Master Chief Collection. It looks really good in a way that, like, I think because I was playing on the 360 when I came. Was it the 360 or the Xbox One?
I feel like it was the
It
Xbox
was the
One.
360.
It was, yeah, good. I'm not
Was it
having
the
a
360?
senior moment.
The only
You
Halo
both
game
said
on the Halo,
something different.
I was about to call it the Halo one. The only Halo game that was on the Xbox One was Halo 5.
Yeah,
That
okay,
was-
cool, wonderful. Thought so.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
must have
it
been.
Wait, Halo 1 wasn't even on the Xbox One? That seems like a missed opportunity.
well, technically, it's on the Master Chief Collection. So technically, actually.
Actually pushes the glasses up.
But yes, I've been playing that. I also jumped into the Master Chief Collection multiplayer as well. Holy shit, fuck me! There's so many cosmetics, and because the control scheme's a bit different. Like there's no, I think it's like iron sights. The left bumper, like the left bumper's grenades instead. Melee's with B. You sprint. With you can remap all the controls and stuff, but I didn't want to. But I just like got annihilated. Like I think it was like 5 kills, 15 deaths. I'm like, all right, I've had enough. And
Seems pretty standard to me.
it's classic. But I wasn't getting cussed out, so that's quite good.
Well, I was going to ask actually, because with obviously the Infinite Beta is running at the moment, was there actually, like, were you able to find matches in Master Chief multiplayer?
Yeah, no problems at all. It's probably one of those things that the community's still there and probably waiting for it to like officially release, or maybe they actually prefer the Master Chief Collection because it's been going for like multiple seasons. I think it was up to season 10 or 11 or something. It's quite high.
And because it doesn't have a battle pass.
Exactly, yeah. And if you put a lot of time into it and you've gotten all the customization things, like why would you go to a new one? And the battle pass is like, all right, well you have to play like a bajillion games just to make it to the end, unless you want to pay money.
And so, I mean, you sort of touched on like a whole bunch of different topics there. Josh, why is Halo 4 one of the worst games?
Well, it's not one of the worst games, but
Oh,
it's
sorry, it is the worst game. Sorry, why is it the worst
It's
game?
the worst Halo game. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Halo 5 is the worst Halo game. But, yeah, I mean, compared to, obviously, there's a lot of love for the original trilogy. So 1, 2, 3, and then ODST just sort of capping it all off. It's, I don't know. I don't know why exactly it just doesn't feel right to be a Halo game. It just really didn't click with me, per se. And I think,
Doesn't. Like it's weird and it brings more above like the Forerunner stuff, and I'll say it sort of because I think I'm about 60-70% of the way through it. I'm semi sure because I'm playing it on normal. I'm just like steamrolling.
the weapons and everything were cool though. Like everything about the world and everything was good. It just really didn't inspire. Like it was basically just Cortana slowly losing her mind, and that was the entire story. And it just wasn't enough, I think.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. Like I sort of like that. So Cortana's descent into rampancy because that's like a whole thing of her and Master Chief are like the
Because it's a whole thing. You had to be there.
yeah the dynamic duo, the buddy cops, and blah blah blah. And if it's like it's sort of like a can the Master Chief do anything without his little AI friend helping him out?
Yeah, and that's a fair point.
Without a GPS.
Essentially, that's what she is. But
I mean, there was certain parts in the story where he obviously struggled without Cortana because she was, busy kind of losing her mind. And it was, I don't know, it really just didn't stick with me like the other games did. But it was still good. Like all the weapon designs, everything, like I was saying, are phenomenal. And the big bad boss at the end was pretty cool, just over quick.
yeah. The weapons, like especially because now they're sort of like, well, in Halo 4, sorry, there are like the 3 streams of weapons. You've got like the human weapons, the Forerunner weapons, and Covenant weapons. It just seems that if you've got the human shotgun, you've got the Forerunner shotgun, and you've got the Covenant shotgun, and rinse and repeat for rocket launchers, pistols, machine guns, etc., etc., etc. They do have some very different things, like the human pistol can zoom in, whereas the plasma pistol from the Covenant like is an EMP if you charge it, and the bolt shot, that's the Forerunner pistol, can be charged, and it sort of becomes like a mini shotgun thing. So it just feels like a different skin that has like a little difference of a feature, and it just sort of feels like it's all right. Well, I don't have enough ammunition for my assault rifle. I'm just going to pick up the Forerunner assault rifle, and it does the same thing.
Yeah, that's basically what it
Yeah, I
was.
see. Not enough kind of differentiation between the different weapon types.
Yeah, there's no variation, and the vehicles though are a bit sort of in the same. Actually, no, the vehicles are in a completely different vein because like Covenants have like the Banshees that can fly, and there are really no
I can't
Forerunner
remember
vehicles, I
what
guess.
it's called, but about halfway through the story for 4, you get in like those big mech walkers. They were cool.
Yeah,
Have you done that?
yeah,
bit?
that is sick. I love that level. There's like 2 parts in the story. You can get it. Mwah,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, they were
All
awesome. I
games should
love
have
those
mechs.
things.
Seth, what about? Because you're a big fan of the Infinite Beta, which I assume you're still playing bits and pieces of. What's your stance on the previous Halo games? Fan of 4? Not a fan of 4?
I haven't played. No, I played a little bit of 4, and again, I only really touched the multiplayer of the older games, and I was not a fan of that one. But it might have something to do with I borrowed a couple of games at once, and everyone just kept going, no, keep playing Halo 4, keep playing Halo 4, when I wanted to try and play other games, and it was like I just got really annoyed with everyone going, oh yeah, let's play Halo 4 when it was my Xbox and I wanted to do other things.
Understandable, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know how we wrap this up. Obviously, Master Chief Collection's been out for a while. Does that include 4? No.
Yes,
No.
it does.
Four's...
Well,
It
yes,
does.
yes, it
Okay,
does.
So it
shoot.
includes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think ODST is like a separate. Well, ODST and Reach, sorry, are separate or were separate.
Yeah,
Sort of add-on DLC, whatever you want to call it. But I think because if you've got Game Pass, all the Halo games, so both Reach and ODST are included with that. But if you got it separately, you don't get that. So, which is pretty weird because, look, we're going to get into the Halo debate now because Reach is the best one by far.
I agree.
That one should be on Game Pass, and it's sort of like a. I'm not sure if it's
Is
universally
it
held
not
as
on
the
Game
best.
Pass for Xbox? Because it is on PC.
It is. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's so at least for PC, the Master Chief Collection released with 1, 2, and 3, I think it was. And then
It
they
started
added.
with Reach. They did it in
They did start
chronological
it with
order.
Reach. I don't think they did.
Yeah.
I thought they added Reach
Yeah.
and 4 afterwards.
Yeah. So
No, they did Reach first because I got the game and I was like, oh hey, let's play it, and everyone was like, no, I hate Reach.
Reach is the best one. Reach.
And then I haven't played the Master Chief Collection since.
Wow. Yeah, obviously I went through and played it after everything had already released, so I'm not super certain, but they are all there on Game Pass, at least for PC, so I hope that's the case for Xbox.
The only one that's missing on PC is Halo 5.
Right, yeah, because I just threw out the original trilogy just because I have Master Chief Collection. I haven't played a huge amount because I got that at the same time as Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I just had a bigger nostalgia pull to Mass Effect. But I remember downloading and loading up 1 and 3, I think, and I just don't remember what else was in that list, so I just wasn't sure if it went past the original trilogy. But sounds like it's there at least, which is cool. So I guess round the group quickly. Favorite one from that collection sounds like Reach for 2 out of the 3.
Yes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Seth, favorite?
My favorite Halo game, probably
Yeah.
Reach as well. Yeah.
Oh, look at that, 3 out of 3. All right, cool. Thank you for that, Steve. Shall we move on to Pokemon?
Yeah, sure. So I've sort of been chopping away and up to the legendary fire Dialga, and I can't catch it, so I'm sort of a bit frustrated with the RNG at the moment. But no, I'm still liking it. It's still good.
Awesome. No, I know that we did perhaps a bit more of a deep dive on it last week, which people can go back and listen to. I actually don't remember where we landed on this last week. Did you play the originals?
Yes, I did, and I love the originals. One of my, I think Generation 4 is the best gen. Platinum did fix a lot of the quality of life things that had problems with Diamond and Pearl, like different Pokemon typings and that kind of stuff.
And do you have the same pull to finish this one with the same vigor as the younger Steve would have back in the day?
Well, because I remember getting it, and it was like 2007, first year of high school, and it came out like right smack bang on school holidays. I'm pretty sure, and I literally me and my brother finished it in like 2 or 3 days. Like we literally were doing like 14-hour sessions with it. We were like,
Oh, that's crazy. That's what Josh did too.
Yeah.
but the more things change, more they stay the same, right?
Yeah, no, and it's crazy because Josh, you're also on school holidays, right?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, wraps up the job.
Oh
So.
no, that's right. You were working full time. No, that's even worse.
Mate, look, Pokemon.
Sorry,
I
had
ended up
to.
taking the day off for the release of Pokemon, and I have zero regrets.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Quite a few of my colleagues do that too. They didn't. I don't think they did it with BDSP. They did it with Sword and Shield. Definitely, there was like a whole,
Oh god, I feel sorry for them.
I don't know, block, group, crow, uh, pod. I don't know, group of
Flock.
people.
A murder
Block,
of
yeah,
people.
a murder of
Ugh.
people. A Pokemon party of people. Yeah, no, they all took the day off, unsuspiciously, of course, and then all just played through at one of the flats. Sounded fun. I wasn't part of it, but yeah, no, it's cool. So where are you up to now, and how long? Yeah, where are you up to now? We'll start with that.
Yeah, so I'm up to just catching Dialga, so just past the 7th gym, finishing sort of the Team Galactic quest line.
Cool. I know that Josh brought this up in last week's episode, but in terms of the battle scenes, the box legendary, the Dialga Palkia fight, I think is perhaps one of the best battle scenes I've seen, maybe even in any Pokemon game. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd even agree with a couple of fights before with Cyrus and
Yeah,
the
Cyrus is
Galactic
also a
admins.
very good second place for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, they look really good, and it sort of fills with the whole theme of like, sure, they're not. You're on Spear Pillar. You could just have done like a mountain background, but they actually went full out. It looks like you're in space.
Yeah, I'm only I don't know, within an hour ahead of you. I've caught the box legendary, and I just before we started recording beat the 8th gym, so I'm slowly making my way towards the Pokemon League. Um, I agree with all of that, but the one thing which I don't remember the originals having this problem, but it's so hard to take seriously the like leader team of Team Galactic, like Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars or whatever, and they just have the dumb Funko Pop faces talking about how you're some punk ass kid, and they just have this big dumb chibi expressions. It's
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's difficult to work through. It's just kind of one of those you just sit and mash A and hope you forget.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on that chibi art style. I still hate it.
I think, like I said last week, I think the expressions that they put on their face is new, and I'm glad there's some kind of expression on your trainer, but it doesn't suit the Fisher Price Funko Pop toys. Nah, not a fan.
It's just it's so, I don't know, like everything that Cyrus exudes is like, I am bad guy, and he's like this big, like mysterious entity, very strong, very stoic. He talks about how emotion is just, weakness entering the body, and all this other stuff. And you look at him, and he's got like dimples drawn onto a Funko Pop as like
Yeah,
as his default bad guy expression, and you're like, really? This is the guy that wants to build a new world?
Yeah, Cynthia as well. Like she walks up and she's like, "Hi, I'm Cynthia," and you're like, "Why do you look 4 years old?"
I'm so sorry. The trainer school is back this way, Cynthia.
Yeah, off you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's also such a hard switch up. I think we discussed it last week as well. But going from like like Cyrus and Cynthia are great examples of this, where you're like, oh look at them, like baby Cynthia, baby Cyrus,
And then you
and
enter
then
the battle, and then it's just like, why do I hear boss music?
yeah, why are they so lanky and tall and gaunt looking? In Cyrus's
Yeah,
case.
yeah. Why do I feel like Cyrus actually wants to kill me?
Wow, the threat is
Because he
suddenly real.
does.
uh, yeah, it's ups and downs. I don't want to just rehash the discussion we had last week, because obviously we had that discussion last week, and people are free to go back and listen to episode 4 where we discussed that more in detail. But yeah, just because I and Steve as well have moved on from where we were when we were talking about it last week, it's just interesting to sort of revisit and update thoughts and feelings. And I guess in line with that, well, 2 bits of news. One, people have discovered a glitch that means they can beat the game in 17 minutes, and 2, that glitch is now patched.
Yes, version
Excuse me?
1.12 is released.
What do you mean? Excuse me. Which part was the was the
They
bit that took you by
patched it
surprise?
already.
Yeah. No. They had the most passive aggressive patch note attached to it. It was like, we have implemented fixes that enhance a pleasant game playing experience, or something just equally um I don't know, like dystopian, like almost Black Mirror reading, because what it was you could open the Pokemon menu and then just kind of open a second menu, which the game would just freak out and just stop behaving normally in any way, and it meant that you could do stuff like item cloning, you could skip cutscenes, you could freeze the game effectively. It was crazy what you could do with this menu system, and then they just went and patched it. So I don't know what that'll do to speedrun leaderboards because clearly we now have a hard ceiling of version 1 time and everything past version 1 time, but it'll
Okay,
be
so it's
interesting.
it sounds like people just figured out how to activate some developer tools.
No, no, not at all.
No. It was entirely unintended. You could open the same, like, every Pokemon menu, you press X to open the menu, you got Pokemon and bag and stuff, but you could do it from a Pokemon summary screen.
I just remembered what I was looking for. I was thinking a debug mode.
Yeah, no, definitely not debug mode. Quite literally, it was just opening more than one menu so that everything around you in the world kind of just stopped working.
Yeah.
Because it thought you were in the
Oh,
pause
okay.
menu.
Yeah. No, it definitely wasn't intended. It was stuff like, because the current speedrun strat is you play the game normally for 3 minutes and you go and get your starter and fight a Starly and talk to people, and then after that you go and uh, effectively freeze the game by registering the old rod to multiple key item slots, and you can use an NPC's push in Jubilife City to say, hey, you can't go this way yet, to clip you basically out of bounds. It's staggering how much they could do off the back of opening one menu. But yeah, no, that entire function worked on being able to open the menu, which of course is now patched.
Yeah, basically you would run directly from the second town in this pause menu, way to the Pokemon League, save it, reboot, and then walk through the Pokemon League door basically underneath the waterfall and just glitch into there. And then because you could open up multiple menus, you were able to skip all the trainer battles and skip Cynthia and walk into the into the Hall of Fame, and that was it. Yeah, and yeah, it was insane.
My favorite part with watching that is that uh, there are, in pretty much every Elite Four, when you enter the room, the game will automatically make you walk forwards and interact with that Elite Four member. And so if you do this glitch, it seizes the game, and so the game goes, oh, okay, clearly we're not supposed to be moving him yet. And then if you then resume it by doing the same glitch again, the game goes, okay, we should be resuming walking him forwards. But you can use that to just get your character to walk through the back wall of where you're fighting the Elite Four member, and then it just goes into the next room.
That sounds perfect.
It's fantastic to watch, and it was crazy seeing how quickly that was discovered too, because within, shoot, Josh, you and I were keeping up with this. I think it was within 3 days, it dropped from beating it in less than 2 hours to beating it in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. You were sending me updates, and I was sort of just seeing them as well. It was like, oh, it's been 2 hours. Oh, look, it's been beaten. Now it's under 30 minutes, and you're like, wait, what? Oh, look, under 25, under 22. Oh, we've hit 17, and that wasn't even number one in the leaderboard. It was like number 4 from what we just saw. So like, that's crazy.
The Small Ant run.
Yeah.
Shout out to Small Ant, big fan. I know he loves listening to our podcast.
Do you reckon Small Ant likes big bugs?
I think he prefers smaller ones.
Smaller
honestly.
blue-colored whoopers.
Lots and lots of whoopee boys.
I do love seeing new speed runs come up because it's just a treat to watching them, like all the strategies being developed on the fly. Like earlier this year we were talking about how me and Josh were playing Metroid Dread, and people were trying to figure out how to most efficiently play the game, and then also trying to figure out, well, how quickly can we beat the game with getting as little percentage as we can, to the point that people found ways to get 0% runs. And now you can do 0% runs in around an hour, maybe less.
I don't mind, like, speedrunning as a general, but my favorite ones are the ones like these where they go, hey, I found a way to pick this game apart at its seams, and now we've walked straight through everything the game is supposed to be doing. I think it's super interesting.
That's what I can't imagine, because I really enjoy, I think it's an IGN series of the developers react to watching speedruns of their own games. And quite often, the developers will just sit there with their jaw on the floor going, we had no idea that, this mechanic could be used this way, or that people could do this thing with a system we designed. I have no idea what it must be like to be either a developer or a QA that looks at someone effectively getting pushed into the sky to walk over the trees out of bounds and then just walk to the Pokemon League. Like, this is like, I don't know, having worked in QA, you feel confident you found like most of the bugs or most of the big bugs, and that anything that's left over is either minor or is so hard to fix that it's just kind of accepted as part of like it's such a small chance of happening in the wild, and it's such a big thing to fix that chances are it's not worth the effort. But to see this get exploited like this so quickly after release, I just cannot help but like I feel like there has to be some admiration from the people that spent months making this to see it get burned down in a matter of minutes.
Or they just go into
Yeah.
absolute sieve mode and want to go and patch it right away.
Yeah. A bunch of emergency company emails saying, "Hey, this game has been this game is the top of the Pokemon speed runs at the moment. We need to drop that down." I actually don't know what the fastest game to speed run from Pokemon is.
Pokemon
Surely
Red.
it's red and blue.
It's red and blue. At least until these patches, like so these current glitches. Yeah, red and blue for sure. I think it was like 30 something minutes was an average run because you were able
Yeah,
to
and
do manips based upon your inputs to predict what the game was going to do randomly. So definitely red
yeah,
and blue.
and the amount of like big brain wizardry that you need for a good red and blue speed run even puts, glitch hopping over a tree to shame. Like it's crazy how much of a deep dive there is on the like not even like the game mechanics, like how the code gets executed within the game.
Yeah, they do some pretty crazy stuff, like especially within the bags and everything, to basically just do whatever they want to do. It's crazy.
Yeah, like underflowing memory addresses and things to force the next encounter to be a certain type, and if you spin 3 times, click your heels 4 times, and say, there's no place like home, the Nidoran, mail appears, which you can then use to trip this next thing. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a really good video on it that I think Steven and I watched before. But yeah, there is just an interesting speedrun. Would recommend checking it out for anyone that hasn't seen it.
Are there any games that you guys feel like you'd be good enough to speed? I know, like, well, I should start that by saying I feel like that's a natural place to wrap up the Pokemon discussion, so we're going to wrap it up there. But it does lead to an interesting question. Is there any games that you guys feel you could either be good enough to speedrun or have an interest in speedrunning?
Nah, I'm not. It just seems like with speedrunning is like not a thing that I'm a big fan of. Well, it's something that I don't really enjoy watching or anything because it just sort of seems to be like if you either go through the motions enough times, you're just going to get faster, or you're doing some weird ways to sort of like break the game in a way that it was like, all right, well, what are you like? Video games are supposed to be fun. I don't get any fun from watching someone like break it or bypass anything. But then at the same time, like if you find fun in that, go for it. I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah, speedrunning is a different type of fun than what I like to have. I like to get skillful in games that I enjoy. Like with the Devil May Cry games, I like to get to a point where I'm doing combos pretty well and getting pretty high scores. But speedrunning is a different type of dedication, and that I don't. I haven't tried it, so I can't say I don't enjoy it. But it feels like something I wouldn't enjoy because it comes down to a lot of little things going right that and a lot of dexterity that I don't personally have, and I would get frustrated myself trying to do.
I feel like in your case especially, Seth, being a fan of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that you would quite enjoy speedrunning getting a character into Elite Smash, via Wi-Fi battles.
No, I usually lose a lot of matches on Smash Ultimate Wi-Fi. I get to the point where I'm about to break into Elite Smash, and then I just go on a losing streak.
I mean, that's because every opponent that beats you, has no life and needs to go outside.
Exactly, those Captain Falcons that just absolutely demolish you on round start, they need to go outside and touch grass.
What about you, Josh?
I don't speedrun things myself, but I watch like a few different people that speedrun things, but I watch more like cut down compilations and stuff rather than like the full speedrun most of the time. I think if I was gonna speedrun a game, it probably would be a Pokemon game, and it probably would be Red. Just because it seemed like a reliable speedrun to do as long as you're good enough at it, and it seems like you can kind of learn it in a couple of days from what I've seen. So that'd probably be what I'd pick up. Maybe that or like a Mario game or something.
Hmm.
What about you?
I semi uh hmm. There are a few games, particularly games that I really enjoy. If I buy them multiple times, or particularly if I buy them on multiple platforms, if I've already played it through once, I'll generally try and beat the game, not necessarily to speedrun level, but I'll try and beat the game as fast as I can on another platform. I don't think I've done that recently with anything. The
Hades?
last one that I did that with was Burnout Paradise, actually. Burnout 5,
Oh,
where
very good. Good
I,
choice.
yeah, I actually did have a reasonably good, I mean, this is before I really, I mean, Burnout 5 was released back in 2008, and this one would have been speedrunning Ultimate Box, which would have been 2010, 2011. So it was kind of before, like, I think, personally, speedrunning only really became a more mainstream thing in the last 5 or so years with the rise of Twitch and things. So me doing Burnout Paradise fast was not being the same league as speedrunning nowadays. But I did a reasonably good time. It was competitive for a competition that Criterion was running at least, which I was pretty proud of.
I would have
Oh
thought that
well,
you
that's
would
that's
do
pretty good.
like Hades or something like that you absolutely smashed.
Yeah, but like that's an interesting game in that it's a game that I have played to death and absolutely love, but I am like I thought I was I thought I was pretty good. It was one of those like killed by my own hubris moments of we had a discussion about it at work with a few people, and they go, oh, we're all into Hades. It's cool. What sort of builds and times do you get? I am. I have a lot to learn with Hades speed tech. My fastest time I think is something 18 minutes, which is not like that is nothing to write home about. And I was super proud of it when I got the 18-minute run. And then I find that a colleague is, oh, I'm, slowing down a bit. I only got 10 minutes on the run, however long ago. It's like, well, guess I'll go back to driving cars fast because clearly clearing the underworld quickly isn't for me.
True, you could speedrun like every EXP board in Forza Horizon 5.
No, I think that I think I like to play games efficiently, which is kind of close to speedrunning, where you want to go for 100%, but you just do it in a methodical way and not necessarily for the sake of speed.
Yeah,
But
I'm the same.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's about the same way I am as well. I like to play to a high level, but not to a speed run level.
yeah, but I definitely have appreciation for the people that do it, particularly the ones that grind for some stupid number of hours day in day out to inch their personal best by a couple seconds.
Yeah, and then you've got like me sitting in the background. I think Seth and you would have heard it a lot where it's like, hey, why don't you do it this way? And I'm like, no, it's not efficient.
Yeah.
I must optimize. uh, no, that's cool. Well, with that also seeming like a good place to end that, shall we move on to the Persona movies? Seth, you want to tell us about those?
Yeah, sure. So this was another idea that my girlfriend had, and we sat down and watched it with a couple of our friends again. We watched through the first two Persona 3 movies. There's four of them in total. And I think it says something about these movies where the first two cover 2/3 of the game's plot. Um, they're split up into four movies because they cover like each calendar season. So the first one was fall, I think, and the second one's winter. So next up, we'll be going into spring and then summer at the end. But yeah, the movies are pretty faithful to the game's story. They do little bits of changes. One I actually really appreciate because something I found really annoying in the game is that in the social link system where you have to interact with other characters to get friendships and level up your personas that way. You just have to kind of go out and interact with a whole bunch of people, and the best way to interact with these people is to just tell them what they want to hear. So, and your character just kind of goes along with whatever everyone else is doing. It doesn't actually feel like a character. So there's this little girl that says she wants to run away from home. So you just, to get the best reaction out of her, you tell her to run away from home. There's
Oh, I see.
yeah, there's a person that says that they're just going to keep training even though they've got a bum leg, but they really want to do well for the track team to make their cousin proud. And instead of telling them to, hey, go get your leg checked out and do something to help it recover, you just tell them, oh, hey, yeah, go to the track field, keep running, break your leg.
Yeah, I really enjoy the games that just let you play an absolute chaotic unit, particularly with dialogue.
Yeah, I didn't actually really enjoy it because of the fact that those are your best options because you get points towards the characters depending on what you give them, what answers you give them, and all of those types are the best ones for those situations. So
Oh, that's
it
weird.
yeah, it really pulls you out of it a little bit. But so uh, the movie actually has a scene where the main character gets called out for that, where they're told, "Hey, if you're not completely into this idea, then just stay home because we don't want you coming in here just for the sake of being here because someone else told you to come." So I enjoyed that a lot. It's put them into a position where they have to do something else and like kind of grow as a character. But yeah, instead of like trying to cover like gameplay bits like some anime adaptations would do, and like just try to so they've done Persona as an anime before, but they did it as an anime series, and they try to squeeze as much as they can into those. They try to cover some social links as well as the main game's plot, and these are 80+ hour RPGs. There's a lot to cover. So
I've seen the number 4 and number 5 anime, and I think they're like 26 episodes, and
something
you
like
can tell
that,
there are definitely some episodes where it's like, all right, we're doing 4 social links at once, and it does feel very rushed, especially like if you've gotten close to some of those semi side characters. Like, oh no, they didn't do my girl any good, and it comes like, all right, whatever, on to the next one, back to the normal gang.
Yeah, and I think in Persona 5 as well, they also wanted to cover some of the side quests as well. At least they did a promotional anime before like the actual anime series came out where they did that.
Yeah, all the Memento stuff. Yeah, there is a couple of that as well, but it feels very rushed.
Yeah, like there's a lot to cover from these games that you could do in anime. So I find that spreading them out into hour-and-a-half movies that cover each calendar season actually really benefited Persona 3, and it gives everything time to breathe properly. So yeah, I'm really happy with how these movies are turning out.
Is it just Persona 3 that has movies?
Yeah, it's only Persona 3 that has the movies. Persona 4 and 5 have anime series adaptations. So they get like 24 episode, 26 episode treatments, like Steve just
So I
said.
imagine it'd be very difficult to, let's say it's the Pokemon treatment of, we have a whole bunch of movies that are technically related to either generations or regions, but, only loosely coupled. And so then you're trying to describe, Persona 3 movie 3, not Persona 3 movie 4 or Persona 4 movie 3, very distinct entities. Like
Yeah, no.
I feel like something that has a lot of media content around like a sequential progression like this would get horribly confusing to maintain.
Yeah, I think the way people just shorthand them is the Persona 3 anime, the Persona 4 anime, and the Persona 5 anime. So like, even though the Persona 3 ones are movies, they still classify them as anime because they're animated adaptations.
Can't wait for Final Fantasy 13-2 movie 1.
Oh god, no. If there's so many other Final Fantasies I'd rather see movies of than 13.
No, but just the naming alone.
Yeah.
Like you turn up to the cinema trying to find the right movie that you want to go to, and you wind up in the complete wrong one.
And now you've reminded me that Final Fantasy 15 had a movie as well, and I'm going back on my word and saying Final Fantasy 13 deserves a movie before that did.
Kingsglaive was sick. I loved it. Final Fantasy 15 also had that 6-part anime as well.
Both of them sucked.
Nah, Kingsglaive's alright. The anime was really good. I really enjoyed it. It really helps you get closer to the boys and understand their motivations for hanging out with Noctis.
I can't believe you're actually saying, oh yes, I too love all my plot to be in the anime for the game rather than in the game itself.
Which one had Aaron Paul in it?
That was the movie. That was Kingsglaive.
Yeah, that's Kingsglaive. Yeah.
Okay, that was Kingsglaive. I remember seeing that. I remember being in the movie theaters and watching that. I do not remember what happens. I just remember going, that has Aaron Paul in it.
Can't remember
Yeah,
what
that's
happens
pretty
because
vague.
there's no story, and the fight scenes have a million camera cuts that make no sense.
Yeah, you get motion sickness. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird as well. Yeah. I like Final Fantasy 15. That's for another time.
that is definitely for another time.
That is definitely an unpopular opinion for another
that right
time.
there is bait, my friends.
Yeah.
It's not. Anyway, so Persona 3 movie.
Yeah.
I've actually kind of said everything I need to say about the Persona 3 movie, to be honest.
Yeah, would you recommend other people see it?
Yeah, definitely. I do enjoy them a lot, and I do feel like if you're not going to sit down and play the games for 80 hours, then yeah, this is a good substitute.
So for example, me, I've never played a Persona game, despite I really should, because I know I would love them. But I've never played one. Would you still recommend that I watch it? Do you think it is it would make sense for someone that's never played one of the games.
Yeah, no.
You should probably start with Persona 1, right?
No, all the
No.
personas are all the personas are their own stories, so you don't need to play Persona 1 to play Persona 2 and so on. So you
I
can
think
just
Persona
kind of
4
jump
and
in.
Persona 4 Golden are the same story.
What was that? Sorry.
Nothing, I'm just being a smartass.
Well, Persona
Um,
1 and 2 are very different games as well, and from what I understand, they're not very good.
No,
Start with, yeah.
they're good. Persona 1 and 2 are good games. Some people prefer them over the newer versions that Persona 3 made.
that right there is also bait, friends.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's it. Coming over.
We can't agree about Final Fantasy 15. We can't agree about Persona. What can we
Well, you-
agree
I
on?
don't know. I honestly don't know why we're all doing this together. Clearly, we have nothing in common.
You're
That's
trying
it.
to say
Pack
that
it up.
everybody
Podcast
doesn't.
over.
You're trying to say that everybody doesn't subscribe to my way of thinking? No, I don't
Yeah.
believe it.
Wow, imagine being
like
incorrect.
all I'm saying is that if I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong, and we can't have that.
But yes, to answer your question, Josh, yeah, you can just jump in with the anime because they go over the rules of the world and everything pretty coherently.
Okay, might have to give it a watch.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like a broken record by saying that seems like a good place to end it there as well. But I actually want to segue this one, continue a little bit further, just because talking about video game adaptation into movies or anime or what have you, I ended up watching Arcane. Want to really touch on it briefly, just because it, I think, might be one of my favorite things I've seen this year.
Yeah,
Did you see
Arcane
Squid
is
Game?
something that I should watch at some point, mostly because it's a 3D animation and that's what I do now. So it's been making waves across students and some people in the industry, so I should at least give it a watch for that side of things. But I've been hearing it's really great.
I don't know what I was expecting to go into it. It was one of those people say it's fine. I haven't touched League of Legends for years. The biggest thing that was weird to me is that League of Legends doesn't itself have any kind of story. There are backstories to the characters that you play as, but there's no like tone. Like I imagine Persona, because I also haven't played Persona, but I imagine Persona, um, the way that the game plays out, the way that it's written, has kind of like tone and setting and pacing and everything that when you play more of it, you're like, yeah, this is more Persona. I kind of know what I'm getting into. League and Dota and other sort of character-focused MOBAs don't really have that. There's no overall characterization for interactions and things, which is why the fact that in Arcane's case, they're able to get a bunch of characters together that, that yes, they all have backstories, but there's no like I don't know, maybe to other people it would make more sense, but to me, looking at a bunch of backstories for these characters that were in Arcane, I couldn't think of a nice way that you could turn this into a 9-series anime that would do all of them justice. But I was shocked that not only did that do them all justice, it's like all the best parts of Enter the Spider-Verse in terms of like the animation style and the technical aspects. The story elements are all there. I'm also just a sucker for good lore, so I just kind of liked it. And the soundtrack also really good. So yeah, I just wanted to put a quick shill in there for Arcane. We can probably move on to the next thing unless we wanted to discuss that a bit more, but it just felt natural to bring it up after the Persona movies.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know that League of Legends is more of a backstory and lore focused thing, and Riot's is more on this trying to expand that into being more of a story focused thing because they have all these characters that people are into just from playing the MOBA. So trying to take that out into other media seems like a good idea, and I'm glad that people are getting the characters and stories that they want out of it.
Yeah, would absolutely recommend anyone with an interest in either animated storytelling or particularly, I guess, characters like MOBAs or League of Legends to go check it out. But shall we move on to, I guess, main game discussion point for the week, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yeah, sure. So, where do I start with this? I guess.
So firstly, we should probably check. Seth and Steve, Josh and Steve, far out. Where are we at with Ratchet and Clank knowledge? Have you guys played them before? You know about them? Like what sort of background do you have with Rift Apart?
0. I know
Zero.
they exist, and
0.
that's it.
Good place to start. Josh,
Oh
what about
wow. Okay, I mean I grew up on the Ratchet and Clank games, so I played pretty much all of them until I did play the one on the PS4, despite only having a PS4 for like 2 weeks. and that was the only one I didn't like. I loved all the other ones growing up as a kid, and I really want to get Rift Apart, but I would have to play it on my housemate's PS5, and it was like, do I really want to pay $120 for a game for a console that I don't own, you know? But otherwise,
Yeah.
no, I have a lot of love for the series.
Cool. So,
Yes, Josh has given
I
me a
guess
good
this-
jumping on point there because I only paid $60 for the game.
wow.
And I'm going to just say flat out, I'm very glad I paid $60 for this game and I didn't pay $120 for this game.
Okay, that sounds negative.
Not to decry the game of any quality. It's just a very short game, and I would have felt a little gypped out of paying triple digits.
I think
for
paying
it.
triple digits
Yeah,
for
and
any
that's what
game
I
is a
said to
very
you,
hard
right?
ask. Like, unless it comes with something
Yeah.
like a pre-order bonus. I used to do that before I got burned by Fallout 4 and that garbage.
It
Never forget.
needs to come with something, and it needs to be a sizable
Yeah,
game
exactly.
if it's going to ask triple digits.
Yeah.
And it just
Sorry, what were you going to say to that point, Josh?
I was just saying never forget for his Fallout thing, because it's
Yeah.
still hilarious to me.
Oh god, that was because it came with like a Pip-Boy, and I paid like what $200, and the Pip-Boy was like,
it's only $200. I paid $350 for the Final Fantasy 15 Ultimate Collection.
I nearly got that as
The
well.
best part for the Fallout one, though, was how did your phone fit the Pip-Boy that fit on your arm, Stephen?
It didn't, because I had the Xperia, and it was like, it just doesn't fit. And I'm like, God, all right, that's fine, whatever. And
It was made for iPhones, wasn't it?
made for iPhones and like
Yeah,
like one Android,
the smaller
Um,
Samsung ones.
and I was
Yeah,
like, oh god,
Oh, that's
I'm
rough,
still
buddy.
angry.
it's hilarious.
Time will stop, and it'll just be the Red Sea of my rage. I've never pre-ordered a game since.
Understandable, really. So I think we kind of cut the point a bit short there. So it wasn't to take away from the game, but why were you happier that it was only $60?
Just because of the length of the game. I finished the story in about 10 hours, and I got the platinum an hour after that.
Wow, that seems short even for a Ratchet and Clank game.
It's pretty on par.
It's on par, I'd say. Some of them
It's been a
feel
while since I played one. It might have just been that younger me just took ages bumbling through
Yeah, no,
levels
I
more
think-
than me now.
I think that's how it is with all of us, because I remember I used to spend days on end playing Crash Bandicoot 3 and not getting to the end of the game, and I can do it in 4 hours now, maybe even less. I guess the first thing I want to say for this is that X-Bros, PS5 Bros, were actually missing out by not having any current gen only games, because this game makes a damn good case for just dropping the Xbox One and the PS4 altogether and just move everything over to the new gen.
The power
Oh, so you
of
mean PS4
SSD
bros, not
storage.
PS5 bros?
No, PS5 Bros are missing out as well, because this and Returnal are like the only games we have that take advantage of it too.
Demon's Souls.
I guess
Oh,
Demon
I
Souls as
see what
well,
you mean.
but I don't really count that because it's a remake of a PS3 game.
It's a complete remake, though. Like, they completely overhauled everything for that.
It is a complete remake, yeah, but it's still on the point of I've played Demon Souls before, so aside from like the actual next gen upgrades, I don't feel like I'm missing anything by not playing that.
How does the
Cool,
the haptic feedback in the controllers that I'm hearing so much about, and how good it
Oh,
is?
so good.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
The selling
how-
point of
how
the
is that?
PS5, yes.
The adaptive triggers on I actually use really well on this game, because what they've done is that they've turned up the squeeze so that's like just normally pressing the button, you get about to the halfway point, and you got to give it a little bit of an extra tug, but not too much for a full trigger, and that does another function for the gun. Sometimes it's as simple as like your pistol halfway will only shoot one bullet, while
okay.
pulling it all the way will do a spread shot, or with a shotgun, halfway will shoot one barrel, while all the way will shoot all the barrels of the gun, because it goes up and up as you level it up. But there's also other ones that are like, hey, with a sniper rifle, instead of having to use L2 to aim to scope in and then R2 to fire, you just squeeze it halfway to zoom in and then squeeze it all the way to do the fire. So it's got some interesting ideas. Sometimes it feels a little underused, but what's there is good for how they've used the triggers.
That's interesting. So, with the weapon level ups, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be the first new Ratchet and Clank game for a while, right? Because the previous ones were kind of remakes and side games.
Yeah, about 12 years from what I counted. The last big game was Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time, and that was
Yeah,
on the
which
PS3, around the middle of the
True.
PS3's life cycle, actually.
and that was the last one that I played. But if I remember correctly, in Crack in Time, they had the first non-standard weapon upgrade system where you could pick like perks and I don't know loadouts, maybe giving it too much credit, but you could change how you leveled up your weapon because in previous games it was just you use it enough and then it goes to the next level. What's it like in this one? Did they keep that? Did they, or I guess if you've played a Crack in Time, what features did they retain in that compared to the more traditional like Ratchet and Clank 1 through 3
God, it's
Tools of Destruction type games?
it's been so long since I've played a Crack in Time. That had the Raritanian system, right, where you had to collect crystals, and that would upgrade the guns a little bit by giving them extra features, like giving it more ammo
Probably.
and such.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's a common one across a lot of the games where there'd be some kind of currency that would just give them some kind of perk or upgrade.
Yeah, it just had that. It didn't have any other non-standard stuff. It was very much just as you use it more, it gets stronger and gets a couple extra abilities. And the Raritanium just does stuff like, hey, the cooldown will last. It takes longer to heat up, or you get more ammo, or ammo crates will
Yeah.
give you more ammo, and
Those ones
General
were
upgrades like
common
that,
through
yeah.
the original trilogy, and 4 and 5, I think. Yeah, 6 was very much like if you have this barrel versus this barrel, the guns do two different things, and you could only do that from a certain few locations.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is a very more standard one. This feels like that they went. This feels like a very high-end tech demo to show what the PS5 can do.
Because they made a big deal about the Rift system and being able to change levels and things without loading screens. Was that true?
Um, not entirely true, but it's basically to the point where it doesn't matter. Because you'll hop into your ship, pick a level, and you'll be in the next level in like 2 to 3 seconds because it'll do a quick screen wipe of your ship going to the planets, and that's it.
I think he means more like the rifts are sort of like dimensions in the levels.
Yeah, those.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought part of the tech demo part of it is that, you could go across two visually very distinctive areas without any kind of break or change in loading sequence.
There's actually 2 levels in the game that do that, and I'm going to say it cheats a little bit because it's not entirely 2 separate areas, but because it feels like they've loaded in like the assets for that level into the RAM. But it's very impressive what they do because you'll be in one. It's a one level, for example. You'll be in the depths of space in this completely destroyed planet, and
Naturally.
as you go through it, you'll hit this crystal, and you'll do a quick flash of white, and then when you come back, it's the planet in its pristine condition, and
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
like-
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so you still see some of the assets and everything, but it's a very visually distinct look between the 2 levels.
I like that.
On the idea of like going between 2 actually separate levels, like going from a wasteland to a city, for example, there is like a little bit of like a 2-3 second load there, but it's covered up so well that it might as well be non-existent sort of thing. God, haven't actually gone into my actual impressions of the game though. Yet we've been talking around all these other little details, but
I feel like it all adds to it though.
It
Like,
does,
I
it
mean,
does.
The point of this game was to help ship PS5 units because of what it could do technically on the console. But yeah, what were your impressions of the game other than being short?
It's probably the second best Ratchet game I've played after A Crack in Time. Like, I feel like if it was longer, it'd probably be ranked up higher because you'd get more story between the characters. All the characters in this are like really fun. Rivet and is a new like a Ratchet counterpart.
Yeah, is she a Lombax? Because the whole like Crack in Time thing is that you finally find another Lombax and it's Alistair, and there's the whole big. I don't know. I absolutely loved the future trilogy story, and especially how it
What's a
concluded in A
Lombax?
Crack in Time. But it seems like he's constantly trying to find the Ratchet species. Like he's an alien. He's
Okay,
like
of course.
the last one of his type, sort of thing.
Ah,
But
okay.
is Rivet a Lombax?
Yeah, Rivet is also a Lombax, and so the thing is, she's an alternate dimension counterpart to him, sort of thing. So, you'll run across.
So they could technically save the species if they were to meet.
I don't know if you remember this from A Crack in Time, but all the Lombaxes are still alive. They're just in another dimension somewhere, and they need that Dimensionator from the future series to go get them. But the problem with that is it was broken, and this game starts off with Clank fixing it for Ratchet so that they can go and find the Lombaxes. But Ratchet's a little hesitant on doing it because he's scared of living up to expectations and so on. And the Dimensionator gets into the hands of Dr. Nefarious, and that kicks off the plot into them going to another dimension and having to try and fix everything.
I'm gonna be that guy and nitpick what's basically like an E for everyone / kids sort of platforming game, but I think one of the main driving forces since 2001 Ratchet and Clank 1 is Ratchet going, man, it would be great if I could find other Lombaxes.
Yeah,
I don't know if I buy that now. He's just like, what if they disapprove of me?
yeah, it's something that came up in the side games after A Crack in Time sort of thing, where
Okay.
where he's kind of happy with his life as it is, and he doesn't want to take a risk and ruin things as they are. But the story itself is very fun, really good. All the characters in it are pretty great. Gameplay is a ton of fun. Like, they add new things into it where you get like these quick dashes now, and some of the dimension abilities are pretty fun to zip around the arenas. The new arena is actually kind of disappointing because with the way that the game's set up with all this dimensional hopping and everything, you'd think that's like the combat arena, they would take advantage of that, but it's kind of a standard arena and kind of falls flat in that area.
So wait, do they have like the arena system of previous games? Like you go and select your boss that you fight and...
Yeah, that's what I talk. That's what I'm mentioning now.
Right.
It's short as well. There's only like 15 challenges in total. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no, not your fault. I was going to say something about the arena again, and it's more along the lines of, so with the whole dimensional hopping and like the way that they can move assets around very fast on this SSD, you'd expect some use of that, but they just keep you on like this bog standard purple platform the entire time instead of doing some varying environments that would have been fun.
Right,
and that's kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
I did run into a couple of technical issues in the game.
Oh yeah.
Just your standard T-posing enemies and stuff like that. There was one point I went to a weapon vendor and the video previews for the weapons weren't playing.
Who was the weapon vendor in this game?
Mrs. Zurkon. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her.
I'm familiar with Mr. Zurkon.
Yeah, his wife.
Oh dear.
So in Rivet's dimension, Mr. Zurkon runs a bar because he got tired of killing. Mrs. Zurkon runs a weapons vendor, and Zurkon Jr. runs the arena.
Match made in heaven, honestly.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, all of those were fixed with like quickly restarting a checkpoint. It was nothing like actually crashes the game or anything. So
I feel like T-posing enemies would be something that you want to keep.
No, it was T-posing NPCs, like friendlies.
Even better.
Yeah. I feel like that T-posing issue was just a problem of the game not expecting me to move between locations as fast as I was, because you get the jet boots a few levels into the game, and they let you accelerate with them now, so you move through levels extremely fast with them.
Yeah.
And that's a thrill as well now.
To take you out of any sticky situations?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Never mind, play on.
Yeah, so the visuals in the game as well are fantastic. Some of the best I've seen on consoles. They're really hitting that Pixar quality now. I was playing on the performance ray tracing mode, which is where they target 60 frames per second, but also enable some level of ray tracing in the reflections and everything, and the shadows. And I didn't notice any performance dips, so I think it's aiming around 1080p, maybe a little higher. But so keeping that level of resolution, that high of a frame rate, and all those extra little bells and whistles made it really, really stunning.
That's cool. In terms of the guns, because obviously that's a massive part of Ratchet and Clank. I mean, Steve, some of the guns are just like stupid. Like, you have your standard like pistol, and then you have rocket launcher, and then I don't know, Ratchet and Clank 2. It's like the lava gun, which would upgrade to like the volcano gun, which shot
Oh,
like
cool.
magma rocks at people.
Ratchet 2 also had
Um,
the bouncer, which is a grenade launcher that, when it detonates, brings out little other grenades that bounce towards the enemies,
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
cool
it
weapon.
did.
which they
And then
also
there was
brought
like
back.
the Oh, they brought that back. Nice, because there was
It-
also like the beehive gun in Ratchet and Clank 3. Like, there's just like Ratchet is just known for its just kind of batshit weapon designs. Josh, what would your favorite weapon be?
My favorite weapons, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was like a lava whip, and you used
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's the magma gun.
no, there
yeah,
was a
yeah,
whip
yeah.
one in Ratchet and Clank 3 as well.
That was the plasma whip, but the one that you could just while shooting spin in circles and it would just do like a lava line. That was the lava gun.
That was a
in
cool
Ratchet and
gun
Clank
too.
2.
But no, I loved the whip. I think it's particularly so the plasma whip. I
And
think
did
that's
that
what
make
it's
a
called.
reappearance, Seth?
The lava gun didn't, no.
But the plasma whip?
Plasma whip did not either. So some
Oh shit, game zero.
man,
Yeah, dropped.
stealing my bit.
Moving on. So news this week. No, I'm kidding.
There's some fun guns in this and some that are pretty standard. It's kind of like middle across the board. So you got your like regular sniper rifles, your pistols. The shotgun in this I actually really enjoy because it starts off as a 2-barrel gun, but as you level it up more, it gets more barrels and gets more insane.
Oh yeah.
They didn't. They got rid of the Groovatron and Mr. Zurkon because with all the PS3 games and the PS4 game, they found it kind of like got a bit overboard. People were getting sick and tired of those guns. So with Mr. Zurkon, they just flat out replaced him, and the Groovatron they just dropped completely. But the new replacement for Mr. Zurkon is great. It's called Mr. Fun Guy, and what you do is you throw out a mushroom that starts finger blasting everything, and he's yelling out phrases like "I'm having so much fun," but in like kind of a panicky but also excited voice at the top of his lungs.
I love it. Is the Rhino back?
The Rhino is back, but I don't want to spoil what the Rhino does in this game.
What about
Okay, so
I feel like
sorry, you go, Josh.
what about the suck cannon? That was a good one.
the suck cannon isn't in this, but there's something that I kind of enjoy that's not on the same level, but you get a minigun in this game, and when you get it to level 5, it just erases enemies by putting them in little mini black holes.
I love that started with, is the suck cannon in this game? Kind of similar. It's a minigun.
Yeah. Typical Ratchet
It's
weapons.
like,
To be
oh
honest.
yeah. So in my case, I actually don't remember what the Rhinos in the Future trilogy did, but Rhino, Ratchet and Clank 1 Rhino, good. Ratchet and Clank 2 Rhino, excellent. Ratchet and Clank 3 Rhino, I thought disappointing. So based on you not wanting to spoil it, it sounds like Rift Apart Rhino, good time.
Good time, but also it's an Easter egg gun, and
Oh,
I don't
okay.
want to spoil the Easter eggs because I know Josh wants to play this at some point, so
I definitely
it'd be
do,
more fun
yeah.
if he sees those himself.
Fair enough. Speaking of Easter eggs, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that some of the, I think they're the, like diary entries in Rift Apart that are kind of really cool, and they allude to other sort of Insomniac multiverse.
PlayStation multiverse,
Universes?
actually.
Yeah, because there's like the Sackboy Easter egg. I think there's like a Sly Cooper Easter egg. In there too,
Yeah, there's a
which,
Sly Cooper one and a Jack and Daxter one as well.
which of course just made me sad because Sly Cooper, where you at?
Yeah.
It's making me sad saying that because today is actually the 20th anniversary of the Jack and Daxter series, and boy,
Happy birthday, Jack and Daxter.
Happy birthday, Jack and Daxter! Please come back.
Yeah, please come back. Please find your cigarettes and come back.
Naughty Dog is done with them. We all know it.
Yeah, probably. No, that's cool. Any other things that you want to comment on before you give it a rating and we close this one up?
Yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to point out, and is that there's like 5 different voice actors for the enemy types, and at one point I thought one of them was just Timmy Turner's dad, but I tried looking through the IMDb pages and didn't see him, so I think it's just Ray Chase doing a Timmy Turner's dad impression.
So, in other words, you're saying this is where Timmy Turner's dad impression would be if there was one.
Yes, if I had one.
If I had one, yeah, so good.
But yeah, I'd say an 8 out of 10 game. I'd like to give it higher, but I
but
feel
just
like
the length.
the length just hurts it a bit. And
Where would you give Crack in Time?
Crack in Time for me is a 10.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a
Interesting.
10 for me too. Man,
What
I
about,
really wish
Also-
they'd pull that one forwards.
Also, to pull it back a little bit, the Rhino in that is probably the best one in the series because it's a close range like missile launcher, but as it's doing that, it's playing a orchestra song as you're destroying everything.
That's right. Yes. That's coming back to me now. Shoot. Man, crazy to think of, like, I don't know, just you mentioning that, it's like, that's right, I do remember that, and it's been, 12 years.
Yeah, it's the orchestral music that really makes it memorable.
Should I go back and play all the Ratchet and Clank series?
Yeah, definitely. They're very fun games.
Because they did the Ratchet and Clank collection for PlayStation Vita. Shout out to my other PlayStation Vita user out there. We got to stay strong down to single digits, I think. And 1 through 3 hold up pretty well. I mean, it did come out in 2001. There was a few mechanics that you expect would work one way but don't quite. But 2 and 3 still play excellently, and I am kind of waiting for them to do a future series, which is Tools of Destruction, which was kind of like flagship PS3. It's like what Rift Apart to PS5 is to the PS3 back in the day. Quest for Booty, which was kind of like a bridge game, and then A Crack in Time, which was just the magnum opus of Ratchet and Clank. Kind of waiting for them to pull that one forwards.
I'd also want them to include Nexus in if they do a collection like that, because Nexus was kind of a bridge between A Crack in Time and Rift Apart.
You guys are missing the best Ratchet and Clank game off this list, though. It was also on
Q-Force?
the PSP.
Oh yeah,
Secret Agent Clank.
Yeah, boy.
Nah, that was so
I
bad.
can't believe you guys are not mentioning Gladiator, which is actually a fantastic game, and
I
it
really
was
like
re-released on
Gladiator.
PS3, but in a very horrible state.
My favorite
Yeah.
one was Up Your Arsenal, by far. I loved that game.
Yeah, well that was 3.
Yeah.
My favorite used to be Going Commando, but
Yeah, same.
But then-
I still think it is.
I'd say A Crack in Time is my favorite now, and
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
should have
then-
clarified. Crack in Time is my favorite, but every one of my friend group was like, Ratchet and Clank 3 is the best, Ratchet and Clank 3 is the best. And then I play Ratchet and Clank 2 and then Ratchet and Clank 3 and I go, no, Ratchet and Clank 2 is the best,
Yeah,
which is Going Commando or Locked and Loaded, because they had different names based on where they came out. But
yeah,
kind of
European
annoying.
censored the names for some reason.
yeah.
Before we wrap up, can we talk about how they're cowards for the first time on a Ratchet and Clank title? Like, where's
What,
the
just
pun
ripped
on
apart?
this one? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
bad.
not Ratchet and Clank Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
No, they couldn't do that because there's a South Park game.
No,
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean,
Intentional.
like, no, Josh is right in that. Yeah, Josh is right in that it's just does it as it says on the tin.
yeah,
They've
it's
been
not
cowards before though, because A Crack in Time was supposed to be called Clock Blockers,
Oh,
Crack in
and,
Time's
and
still
Sony
good, though.
thought that was too extreme.
Well, I mean, the remake that they did, partially. Actually, has anyone seen the Ratchet and Clank movie?
I haven't seen the
No.
movie, but I
Random
played the game
thing.
based on the movie that's
game's
based on the
terrible.
game.
fucking hell.
Based on the game. Yeah, I was
Oh.
going to say, because that even that title was fantastic. So, Steve, to give you context, 2001, Ratchet and Clank 1 comes out. 15 years later, they go, we should make a movie of this. So they make a movie, but it's based on Ratchet and Clank 1. And then they go, we should actually just remaster Ratchet and Clank 1 as well. So they rebooted Ratchet and Clank, because I don't think it was a straight remake. It was kind of like a
The
do
the
it.
way
was a
that they're
remake.
describing it now is it's Quark retelling the story, so it's like the game it's the game story, but with a unreliable narrator.
Yeah, so therefore, when the movie came out, it was the movie based on the game, and when the game came out, it was the game based on the movie based on the game.
Christ.
And it
So
was
when are they
like,
making the movie on
it
the game
was-
based on the movie based on the game?
That's a good question. We should probably ask Sony.
They
That
probably
was
won't because that
frustrating, though,
movie bombed.
They ruined the game, man.
Yeah.
They literally took parts of the movie and shoved it into the first game as best they could, and just
Yeah,
killed the first game.
It wasn't a good game, and from what I hear, it wasn't a good movie either.
It'd be interesting to see if they did make a movie, whether they'd get Tom Holland to feature in it.
I reckon it'd be
It's
the
got to
voice
be
of
Chris Pratt.
Please God, no.
I believe that's a jinx, and that one of you owes the other one a soda.
I'm under a roof. Cancels out.
Yeah, I'm also under a roof.
I've never heard of that as a rule.
Yeah, me either.
What do you mean under a
Australian
roof
playgrounds
rebound
are
back
just-
to you?
I've never heard that before.
Australian playgrounds are feral with these rules. What the hell?
Yeah, the idea is that
No,
if
they're
you're under a
usually
roof, it
more
like
violent.
cancels out. It's about getting rid of the polarities or something.
The one I know is it's if you're under a roof, it rebounds back to the person that called the jinx.
Ah.
Well, I'm in a different country, and therefore you have to cross international waters to get to me.
No, it's too
So
late.
I'm out. I'm good.
Jinx doesn't work like that.
No, but it does in New Zealand, because when you rebound it to me, it rebounds to you +1 plus infinity. So yeah.
Alright, so who's buying Patrick a soda? It can't be me because I'm poor.
More importantly, who calls it a soda here?
Yeah, true. If I wanted to go really Canadian, it'd be a can of pop.
Can of
Yuck.
pop. Oh god.
Yeah, no, a can of pop.
Yeah, that's what they call it. I hate it. It's like, oh, I'm
What do
gonna
you
get
call
some
them in New
pop.
Zealand?
Go
Is
to
it
the
still soft
pimple.
drink? Is it still soft drink there?
Yeah, soft drink.
Yeah.
Soft
If you put it
drink
in
would be the main way
if
to
you
say
put it
it.
in freezer, it's a hard drink.
Put it in the freezer, you lose all the gas out of it. So yeah, I guess so. You just get the.
And if you put a scoop of ice cream in it, you call it a float over in North America.
call it a
It's
spider
here.
Spider here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Got
Yeah.
spiders are great. Absolutely love them. I think McDonald's calls floats the ones where they put the ice cream inside the frozen drinks.
Yeah, and the slushies. Yeah, they call
Yeah,
it
the
a float.
McFloats. Oh man, those are good.
Mm.
I had a frozen Coke today, and I gave myself such a brain freeze. I thought I was gonna die.
Was it worth the hangover recovery though, for all that sugar pounding through you?
Yes. And then as soon
Yeah,
as
I-
the sugar crashed, it
absolutely.
was like, okay, sleep time.
Yeah. I love being hungover, drinking a frozen Coke, and then listening to the sound of my heartbeat just increase.
One coffee, please.
You're like, oh yes, the migraine that I can hear the blood flowing through my head is like suddenly beating faster.
Hold on, let me go to Gloria Jean's, get a caramel latte, put caramel sauce on top, and also have 2 sugars.
Glorious
That
things,
sounds
man. You could have at least chosen a
horrific.
good coffee place. Fuck.
Anyway, what's that I hear? Oh, it's my 3:30 excuse for a segue coming up. Excellent discussion on Ratchet and Clank. I think we'll probably take a quick break, come back, and discuss the news.
Go get some snacks. Perhaps a carbonated soda. I hope they have ices.
I've chosen the large tub.
My nipples look like milk duds.
I've got some yellow liquid for your popcorn. And it's non-dairy.
Time for the news section. And I guess the first piece of news we should talk about. Steve, people can no longer ring you. Tell us why that is.
So, people can still ring me. I have a backup phone. So, long story short, so I've got about 2 months ago, I got the Galaxy Z Flip 5G. Flip phones are back, baby. We're in business. I was loving it. It was great. Everyone's like, whoa, flip phones. I remember those. Great conversation starter. I had no problems. It folds pretty well, so I could take it for runs and stuff. And yeah, I loved it. So about a month into it, the screen developed a really big and noticeable crease to the point where I'm like, all right, this is ridiculous. So then I book in an appointment with the Samsung to get it assessed, and so I just had that on Friday, and they pretty much said, nah, sorry, there's a tiny little ding on the back of the hinge. You fucked it up. Give money and we'll fix it for you. So absolute unadulterated rage.
How much were they asking to fix it?
So because I'm on the winners list or whatever, because I've had the phone less than 6 months, it's only 220 down from 680,
Oh,
but it should still be under warranty.
It's like a month old.
Yeah, I'm literally having a fucking seizure
Which-
about it. Get fucked.
which model of it is it? Is it the newest model of the flips?
No, so it's last year's one.
Okay, because I got the newest one and mine's still running very well. I got it the day it came out, and
Oh my god, am I the only one that doesn't have a flip or a fold?
Yep.
and the same thing happened to me where I on the last couple of days of uni, I actually went into the studio to go pick up all my stuff, and people saw my phone and were like really entranced by it and wanted to play with it a little bit just to flip it a bit. And everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, I remember flip phones; they were so good. Can you answer the phone by flipping it open?" Like, yeah, and you
yeah,
can
you
also,
can. Yeah.
you can also hang up by flipping it closed, and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yeah,
So
it's
it's-
funny you mention it, Patrick, because I obviously got my fold the day it came out, just the day or something before Seth. Steven's like, how is it? And then he ended up getting one for the previous one because it was on sale. My housemate got a flip. Then the person I was working with every day, they also got a flip. So you're
Yeah,
next, buddy.
Yeah, there's a lot more out there. But at the same,
So I went and played with because my mum needed a new phone. So I went phone shopping with my mum. Sounds really weird to say. And we ended up getting her a flip because it was like not even because it was the latest new thing. It was the phone that did everything that she wanted in like a package that wasn't just a brick in her pocket. And I hummed and hawed about getting a fold for like a week before I decided against it. But man, just knowing how many people around me have either a flip or a fold, the peer pressure is real.
but then at the same time, this is like I've had my shit experience, and I might do a little song and dance with Samsung and be like, "Hey, don't," because I'm pretty burned by it. I'm lucky I've got my old S9 that I can use.
Why don't you just dial out on your smart fridge?
Yes,
We don't not have smart fridges, Patrick.
my fridge barely keeps things cold.
So it's a not very smart
No.
fridge.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
like
Still
a
a
bad
free one I
fridge if
got
it's
from a
not keeping
previous
things
house.
cold.
Well, I'm too busy playing Skyrim on it, so
Man, I'd much rather play Doom on it.
gonna play Crisis.
What do you mean? That's the thing that runs my Minecraft server, bro. keeps all the vegetables nice and toasty.
Use it instead of an oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, next week I'll hopefully have an update. I'm probably just gonna be like, don't repair my phone, give it back, and then I'll return it to the store at whence it came, and then I'll buy a Pixel or something.
I mean, the new ones, they completely made a massive deal over about the hinge and how it was completely like overhauled because they had so many problems with the previous one. And you're the only one I know who's got a previous generation of these phones. So hopefully it's just a unique problem with that one. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Hang on.
yeah.
Well, this is going to be really shit in audio form, but I'll drop a picture of the ding in the chat. It is the fucking tiniest fucking ding, and they're trying to say that like it's responsible for like the whole crease.
Yeah, no, I mean to
Literally
describe
fucking
it,
yeah.
it's like it looks like a pin has poked it. Like
Yeah,
that's it.
literally
It's
fucked.
literally nothing.
Yeah.
God, look at the grease on that. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah,
And
no, that's a
Man, people listening are gonna love the sound of us describing
Well,
Steve's
that's
greasy phone
that's
over,
obviously the tech.
over audio.
Obviously,
I mean,
the
on
technician
the
has put his
video
grubby
version, we
hands
can
on it.
throw up these pictures.
Or chuck it on social media or something.
Included in show notes below will be a Facebook post about Steve's greasy phone.
You can follow it on the Twitter.
If you'd like to help him get a new phone, feel free to send us money.
Well, because I always get self-conscious when I do things like this, so I microfibered the shit out of it. So the screen was like probably in better condition when I sent it. So obviously the technician has put his fucking grubby fingers all over it. Man, I'm just getting worked up. Can we move on, man? I need to go for a walk.
As long as we get the update next week.
Yeah, I'll give you the update next week.
Yeah. No, we're looking forward to the update next week. Cool. All right. In I guess news that people might care slightly more about. First thing in the list. Seth, you want to take this one? 13 Sentinels.
Yeah, so 13 Sentinels Aegis Rims just got announced that their sales have topped 500,000. And to try and boost the game's life a little bit, they're bringing it to Switch on April 12th next year.
So what was the order here? So they announced that 500 had sold, or since announcing that it had come to Switch, 500 is sold totally?
No, both were in the same announcement. So they announced it sold 500,000, and it's also coming to Switch next year now.
Is that the
You excited?
Is that like the Atlas Mecha game?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
By
okay.
Vanillaware. It's got a really beautiful art style, and Vanillaware's games don't sell a whole lot, unfortunately. But they're fantastic games from what I hear. I did buy 13 Sentinels when it came out. I just haven't had the time to play it because it's Persona tier apparently of like being an 80-hour RPG.
Oh,
wow.
Lord. Okay. Is it looked like a Japanese-ified Pacific Rim, it looked like Pacific Rim, but cartoony. Is that sort of how it plays, or?
From what I've heard, it's a bit VN-ish, a bit tactical RPG, and it throws in basically every sci-fi element it can into the game.
Yeah, I've heard.
I might actually have to check that out.
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley.
I've heard some people say
Yeah,
it
me
was their
too.
game of last year. I definitely.
Wow.
I heard the
Very
same,
keen
and that's
for it.
why I bought it. I just need to carve out the time to play it myself.
I just
Is it the sort of thing that you think would transport to Switch well, or is that just to put another platform out there to sell units?
Both. I do think it'll work well on Switch, especially since it's a VN style game, so you could like read through segments of it on like a train ride or into work or something, and then just put it on sleep mode, and then come back to it a little bit later whenever you're ready for it.
Are visual novels games?
Yes.
Okay. Are books games?
No.
Okay.
Depends on the book.
The game of life.
Is the book a visual novel? Because then yes.
The book is just a
What
D&D
if
hand
what if
guide.
the instruction booklet to a game was also a visual novel describing the game? Which one's the game?
I'd actually enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, that sounds fucking sick,
Yeah,
man.
that
We're going
actually
to the
does sound
Patent
really
Office,
good.
I
That's
miss
it.
game manuals,
hold
man.
up. We need to finish this. I have an idea. I need to go. I need to go make several $1 million real quick. Hang on.
That's weird. I think I just heard a new Kickstarter page get spun up.
But yeah, on the topic of game sales and just generally games not doing well, the new Blue mobile game that came out at the start of the year is getting shut down in January.
wow.
It'll have
See-
been available for less than a year in total.
I'm
in
surprised
Japan.
by this because the quote that they had was that we don't feel we could deliver a premium experience to people. Like it doesn't seem like it's dying off because of a lack of players or too expensive to maintain or anything. It just seems like they don't want to maintain it anymore.
I'd translate that to them making excuses for the lack of a player base and lack
Yeah.
of funds.
I think they're just trying to save a bit of face. I mean, go figure. Who would have thought a fighting game that needs to be like run at a similar level with decent internet in the backbone to be fun would do bad on mobile? I don't know, man.
Yeah, who knew?
I mean, this wasn't a mobile game. This was like a strategy game or a visual novel, I think. I literally have not heard anything about this game besides it being announced and it being announced that it's ending. And that might have
Announced that
something
it's ceasing.
that might have something to do with it only being in Japan, but also the game being end of service in under a year might also have something to do with that.
I thought it was a
All I'm
fighting
saying,
game.
BlazBlue developers, bring it out on Smart Fridge, then we'll talk.
No. So, see, BlazBlue in general is a fighting game series, but this mobile game was something different. They wanted to do something different and make an RPG.
Right. I actually thought it was a fighting game. So
Yeah, no, so
I might have actually tried the RPG.
this
Oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
and from what I can tell, this was like a canon sequel to the end of the fighting game story saga. So
Oh,
so I don't know where the series is going from here.
down.
I hope not.
mean-
BlazBlue is fantastic.
Arc System won't let it fall apart. So
Yeah,
They'll keep it up.
this is their second baby next to Guilty Gear.
yeah.
Do you reckon the sequel will be called like Blaz Red or something? How do you pronounce it? Is it Blaz or Blaze?
No, it's Blaz Red versus Blaz Blue.
Ah!
Yeah.
They're done.
Excellent.
You know, you say
Thank
that,
you,
but
thank you.
I think it's actually pronounced BlazBlue. They just don't have the E in there.
I always thought it was
Oh.
BlazBlue. That's what I call it.
Oh. I just call it something I'm not going to play.
Well, and here you were like 2 weeks ago being like, wow, Arc System games are actually really good.
Yeah,
but
I'm
this
just-
is
Steve,
the
It's not
BlazBlue
gonna-
ones are
Steve,
2D
Steve
sprites,
looks at
they're
his
not
broken
3D.
bloody Samsung Flip and goes, "I call it finished."
I call myself sad. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Wow. On that note, let's move on to the next piece of news then.
Indeed. Sony has announced three new films, a few new films, continuing the Tom Holland arm of the Spider-Man multiverse.
Good.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me because the Tom Holland movies have been really well received, even if I don't like the second one. But it's just a note I think of. The Marvel Cinematic Universe needs to go on, and this relationship with Sony and Disney has been working out very well. So of course they want to continue with Tom Holland and make more movies. I think Sony has to do the bare minimum amount of work with these movies, and they make bank.
I've always liked the Spider-Man movies. They're always different. Now that they're part of the cinematic universe, they are a bit different. But I think Tom Holland's a great Spider-Man. He's no Tobey Maguire, but he's alright.
No one will ever beat
I was
Tobey
going to say
Maguire
it'll depend
Spider-Man.
on because we're still left in the lurch wanting to know if Tobey Maguire and alter ego Bully Maguire is in the upcoming one, which actually was that confirmed? I don't think that's been confirmed
They
yet.
haven't confirmed it, but we've
Yeah.
seen.
We suspect it.
we-
Everyone suspects it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
suspect it.
But I hope that it's in the fine print that he has to also continue these movies with Tom Holland.
God, I would love that.
Just because, like, I want in a couple of years' time at the Oscars the nomination for Best Supporting Actor to be Tobey Maguire for Spider-Man, and people go, "Oh, wasn't he Spider-Man?" No, the supporting actor to Spider-Man. Spider-Man was Tom Holland.
But Tobey Maguire also played Spider-Man as a supporting
Yeah,
actor for
but he also
Spider-Man.
played Spider-Man.
What was that quote that he's like, "I'm gonna rub sand in your eyes."
I'm gonna rub dirt in your eyes.
Dirt in your
Dirt
eyes, yeah. We're getting it mixed up with Anakin.
But also because it's the movie with Sandman.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's right.
Oh, man.
Who is also back for shoot. The name of the one coming out.
Everyone is here.
Everyone's here. What was the name of it? Spider-Man
No Way Home.
No Way Home. That's right. I knew it had something way home.
Tobey
Yeah,
Maguire's
they
locked
all
in a
have
cage,
home
that's
in
why
the
it's called
name.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Maybe the real Spider-Man was the multiverse we did along the way or whatever.
You tried,
was
I'll
the
give you
best
points.
supporting actor nominations we made along the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, good.
God, imagine Andrew Garfield also getting the same nomination.
Oh, imagine if they had to fight it out.
Yeah.
Like, the nominations are between the two of them.
I just want to see them all get on stage in a Spider-Man outfit, have none of the abilities, and just start fighting. Like,
No, and they just do the pointing at each other with
They
the,
need
the,
to
the
do
Oh.
the
switch
Oh, the
middle.
Spider-Man.
Oh,
thing,
man,
yeah.
better.
The
Yeah.
best joke in Spider-Verse was when they ended the movie with that pointing scene.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And that was the most expensive shot too, because the licensing for that.
So it probably exists somewhere
Oh.
in the blockchain where they could rent it out or something.
Yeah, probably
It's-
an
it's now an
NFT
NFT,
of that.
yeah.
Oh god.
oh, God.
Oh no, but just imagine, just back to the Oscars thing for a sec. So you know how they did the little video of like this is the role that they played. What if the clip that they played has all three of them in it, and they just do it three
Yeah,
times?
they don't call up the actor, they just say Spider-Man, and then all three of them walk up on stage like, oh, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, they're all in costume. It's like Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man plays the clip. Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man, same clip. Like no idea who's who.
Uh,
Oh, wow, I'd watch that.
That's the world I want to leave for my children. Shall we move on? Speaking of Sony, PlayStation Plus has announced their December game lineup. What are our thoughts on that?
So PlayStation 5 is getting Godfall Challenger Edition, which, from
Oh,
the
no.
looks of the description, is just a post-game mode that you just get to play for free. So you don't even get the main story. You just get a post-game dungeon. Mortal Shell, which I think is a Souls type,
I think so.
and Lego
It's
DC
got a Souls
Supervillains.
bloody name.
It's a Gearbox game, but it's like a... I don't know too much about it, but I think it's a Soulsborne kind of game.
Yeah, I also believe it's a Soulsborne type of game. I didn't look too much into it. I'll add these to my library, but I probably won't. The only one I'll probably play is Mortal Shell to begin with. But
I
Lego
was
games are
wrong.
always fun from what I hear, so I might check that out as well.
Yeah.
Because the third game was Lego DC Supervillains.
Nice. Oh, sorry, you were gonna say? Was there a follow-up that you were gonna say?
Yeah, Godfall is kind of an inclusion there. I've heard nothing but
Right.
that game being a massive disappointment from like the moment it released.
Yeah, me too.
How is that only an moment? How is that not an actively crying moment?
It's
a
still
bra
free,
moment.
kind of.
Yeah, still free.
Yeah, you can't. It's like beggars can't be choosers because it's the same thing every month. I get really excited for the games with gold that Xbox gives.
Well, I mean, it's. I was gonna say it's free with the subscription you're paying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
about to say the same thing. It's free in quotation
Yeah.
marks. I'm paying like
Yeah.
$70 a year for these games, but I'm getting
like,
I'm getting
I
more
could-
than
I could go
$70
and
of
get a-
value out of it.
I could go and get a free Ferrari for the small subscription fee of $500,000.
It's essentially what Microsoft and Sony are trying to tip their gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, continuing on with that, what were the Xbox games that were coming to Games with Gold?
So the Xbox ones are much worse.
Yeah, the Xbox
only
ones have been
decent
shit
games
for the
in-
past 2 years. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we have Game Pass, so I
I was gonna
can't
say
really...
Game Pass seems to have taken up a lot of that slack.
X-Pros,
Yeah.
we keep winning.
This one actually has like at least one good game, which I don't know why, but for some reason in my head you've played this, Patrick. But The Escapist 2,
No, I haven't played that.
you maybe you haven't. It seems like it's kind of up your alley, but yeah, The Escapist 2 is in there. That's an okay game. Tropico 5, which has been free, I don't know how many times on how many platforms, but I still won't play it.
Yeah.
Tropico 4 was free as well, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, they've all been free at some
Yeah.
point. But
I swear, whenever there's nothing better on a Steam free weekend, they just run Tropico.
I
Yeah.
know, it's insane. So anyway, Tropico 5, Orcs Must Die for the 360 game, and the other 360 game is Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, which is a game I've never even heard of. So,
No, neither.
I think I've played
thought you were
Orcs Must
describing
Die
it.
before, and I'm pretty sure that was a very fun game.
Orcs Must Die is, yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be quite fun, but it came out in the 360 so long ago that
I was going
don't
to
know
say,
if
yeah,
it's
that's
Yeah.
quite an old one, right? Because there's an Ox Must Die 2?
Yeah, there's an Orcs Must Die 2, and that's not in this list.
Oh, X-Bros just cannot stop winning.
We've done.
I mean, yeah, Escapist 2 is pretty fun though, so at least give that a go.
If we can run back to Sony for a moment, there's a new rumor at the moment that they're going to be bringing their own new subscription service coming up around autumn. That's going to have 3 tiers to it.
3
Sorry,
tiers, wow.
I had this in the notes before, but the new document doesn't have the notes. So the plan is that this will replace PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, and Tier 1 will be PlayStation Plus as we know it. You get the free games every month, and you get the online access. Tier 2 would be what PlayStation Now is at the moment, where you get you can stream games to your you can stream or download games. So similar, but it's specifically for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it's like older games, I think, as well
Yeah,
in that catalog.
And then Tier 3 is going the way of Nintendo and going, here's our backwards compatibility initiative, but you have to do it through a subscription service. So they'll.
I cannot wait for PlayStation 2 games to not save correctly on latest gen consoles.
Yeah.
If they
I-
even
Yeah.
run.
No,
No, you know what's going to happen? You're going to play it and it'll say, please insert a memory card.
no, they run fine from experience. I played Jack X on PS5 recently, and that went smoothly.
Can we talk about how, the Xbox came out and said, we're doing all this backwards compatibility, we're uplifting all of these games, and it's going to be great. You guys are going to get exactly what you want. You're going to be able to play your old games. And Sony said, no way, that's for losers. And now they're completely backflipped.
Yeah,
and
no,
sold
no,
it
no,
as a
yeah, they were-
subscription.
It was one
Only idiots would do that and then send an internal memo just like fire emoji.
Yeah.
to be fair, it wasn't Sony themselves. It was one person at Sony before he became the president of PlayStation. But now he's the president of PlayStation, so he might as well represent the brand.
Yeah, and actions
But-
speak louder than words. They completely dropped everything until now, and now they're charging a sub for it. So
Yeah,
get fucked.
which is the real monkey's paw part of it, because it's going to be part of a subscription service. I feel like the Xbox version is much better because you can just flat out buy the games.
Yeah, there's no problem. Or just use what you've gotten from over the years and just keeping my suitcase full of old Xbox 360 games. Yeah, cool. What are we playing today, boys?
Yeah, exactly. Just try and make those work on a level where you can just put the disc in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, surely it's not that hard. Just put the disc in, you play. All right, boys, we're in. Like,
And
I
I
mean,
mean, as part of
Microsoft
their...
figured it out, so it couldn't be that hard for PlayStation, except for maybe the PlayStation 3, because I keep hearing that the cell architecture they used is an absolute nightmare. But Sony, I feel like Sony has the funds to try and make that work on a software level at the very least.
I mean,
I remember back when 40 gigabyte PS3s were like hot commodities online
Christ,
just
40
because they had the
gig.
backwards compatibility
Yeah.
disk drives.
But yeah, this says that the classics library would include PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games.
wait, that doesn't say Vita.
It doesn't say Vita.
What's a Vita?
so it's like
Patrick, I thought you were one of
OLED.
the. Patrick, at the start of this podcast, you said you were a Vita owner. Did you already get rid of it? Are the numbers dwindling as we speak?
Oh no, I have mine in immaculate condition. I've had a screen protector on it for ever since I've owned it or whatever. I'm waiting for it to become like just this crazy high price commodity, just because like I stand by it's one of my favorite consoles. It's such a good console. It just got
I miss my Vita.
it just got absolutely murdered because of what else was around at the time.
Yeah.
Does it fold?
It doesn't fall.
But it does have an OLED screen, so...
There was a little dent at the back of it, so now it doesn't
Ah,
fold.
shit, man. Get that shit checked out.
Yeah, no.
Take better care of your
crazy.
stuff.
when
Yeah,
you were starting your statement about it being in good condition, I was half expecting you to say it's still in its original box with the tape.
Yeah, me too.
Security tape.
I loved it so much that it isn't even out of the box. Next to a mint condition Gravity Rush little Vita card.
Man, Gravity Rush 1 and 2 are such good games.
I guess yeah, moving on to another Sony article while we're still going on that sort of streak, the Porsche Vision GT teaser coming out
Ooh,
tomorrow?
I am excited
2
for
days.
me
this.
too.
December 5th in America, so 2 days.
Ah, so, okay, so 2 days for us. So it was like a day and a half at time of recording. So
Yeah, so this
Man.
is the Porsche that's on the cover of Gran Turismo 7, and like they're going to do the reveal of the actual real car.
This
yeah,
is
Steven's
how
like,
it's-
why are they talking about a Porsche?
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Welcome to Video Game News,
Yeah.
latest in automotive tech.
Yeah, so I threw this into the docket because I thought that at least Josh would find it interesting.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I find it
think-
interesting. It's just I don't care because I'll never be able to afford it.
Yeah,
Either a
I'm fine
PS5
with
or the
that, but,
Porsche.
like, I think Patrick's
Or-
the
or
same
watching
thing. Where
the
it's
trailer.
like, hey, I really like the idea of the engineering that goes into this and everything like
Yeah.
that. Like, they're just super cool. But
Because
Eh.
I know that we're welcome back to the automotive podcast, where we're starting to get into the waiting for the next round of like the Trinity in terms of hypercars and things. So I wonder if this is going to be Porsche's 918 successor,
maybe.
which
Wouldn't it be crazy if it was just a rotary?
Mazda RX-7 checking in.
Yeah.
I'd like my engine back.
The other reason I threw this in is because I actually find it kind of interesting that there's a Porsche that's specifically a Gran Turismo car. Like it seems to be made specifically to be a tie-in with the game.
I mean, they did the same thing. I'm not sure if you remember, but for Final Fantasy 15, the worst Final Fantasy,
The best
remember
Final
that, Steven?
Fantasy.
They released a certain model of the Audi R8.
Right, but
Fuck,
that
that's
was
right. They did too.
That was
Oh my God,
pre-existing
yes.
car.
It was a pre-existing car, but they like did like engraved wheels and like inlays for the mirrors and everything. It looked amazing.
It did.
That's right.
But I mean, like this is a new from the ground up car. That's like a complete
it's a
tie-in with the
remaster
game.
of an old classic.
Right, yeah, whereas that Audi was a pre-existing car that kind of got adapted into Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
You could also
I mean,
get it in Forza as well, couldn't you?
I don't know if you could get it in
Could ya?
Forza. I mean, you could get the R8 for sure. But I don't think you could get like the Final Fantasy 15
Oh,
R8.
I'm sure someone did like a custom skin for
Yeah,
it.
maybe that's
Maybe.
what I'm thinking of then.
God, man, they had a competition to not win the car, but you could have to enter the competition
To buy the
win
car.
the ability to buy the car. Oh man,
It was like
it broke
200,000
me.
or something as well.
I think it would have been more than that for the R8. But oh, what a gorgeous car. Anyway, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop shilling that car. It's the best part of Final Fantasy 15 was that car.
That car, yeah, that car's
It
pretty
wasn't
good.
even in the game.
I know.
If
It was in the
Porsche
movie.
would like to sponsor this podcast with Vision GT thrown our way, I wouldn't say no.
Hell, even just the ride in it, I'd be down.
Oh yeah,
Just let me look at it
Yeah.
in person.
yeah exactly.
I just want to touch it.
No touch, only look.
Yeah, no, super excited for that.
Can I take the next one?
Of
You
course.
absolutely can.
Okay, so the next one is something that we covered a week or two ago that we didn't really cover because it was just much of because we just classified it as a rumor. But it's basically all but confirmed now that a Chrono Cross remaster is coming out. They've just shown off a bunch of things for it with Another Eden is getting a crossover event with the game where the characters are coming into that game. And leaks from the files of the game, it says that that this crossover is happening in honor of the release of the Chrono Cross remaster. So this is definitely being announced at the Game Awards.
Should I play Chrono Cross?
That's
Wouldn't you rather wait till the remaster?
But to get excited for the remaster.
yeah,
So-
yeah, yeah. No,
Well,
go,
that's
go
why
back
you
and play
play
the original
Chrono
for story.
Trigger.
Oh,
'Cause
so
Chrono Trigger was the better game.
So in my
Well, actually, I haven't
warped
played Chrono Cross.
mind, so because there's that big rumor going around that the Final Fantasy VII remake's eventually going to be coming to the Xbox. So to get myself hyped for it, I went at the start of the year and I played Final Fantasy VII, the original one.
To be fair, that's a completely different thing because the remake is actually a different story from the original game.
Okay, good point. All right.
I
Good.
tried to play Final Fantasy VII. But I think if you didn't have the nostalgia for it, it didn't age well.
I played it for the first time in 2012, and I thought it was great.
That was 10 years ago, nearly.
Yeah, I played it for the first time this year. It's good.
Oh, for this year? Okay.
Yeah, but the game came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I just found the half 2D, half 3D world disorientating. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, there's a couple of parts that I was like, okay, I don't know where to go. But I enjoyed it. The combat's good. Oh, the soundtrack. Mwah.
Yeah, the soundtrack in every Final Fantasy game always peak.
Especially Final Fantasy 15.
But yeah, Chrono Cross remaster. I'm keen. I'll play it.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
keen as well. Its rates high, but a lot of the opinion I see is either it's underrated or people just thought it was kind of a bad game. So I'm interested to see where this will sit for me.
I mean, it could be
I'll
both.
definitely have to play Trigger before Cross, though.
Yeah.
And with that likely being announced at the Game Awards, that touches nicely into the next thing on the list, with the Game Awards and the gift that keeps on giving, even though we wish it would stop. Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, this one I feel like we probably will have some more thoughts on.
So Jeff Keighley said that the Game Awards will not take a side on the Activision Blizzard fallout that's happening at the moment. They just want to focus on the game announcements. Keep in mind that Rob Kostick, the president of Activision at the moment, is on the advisory committee of the Game Awards.
Go figure. Rich guys say rich.
Do you reckon they're only sort of doing it to be like, look, that's happening, the video games, but look, a distraction.
They're not even going to touch on it.
Yeah, it's
They
a
won't even
distraction,
say
yeah.
anything about it on the show itself.
I wonder if Blizzard will actually, or Activision in general, will come out and say, look at this shiny thing we're going to be doing. Because I don't think they have anything lined up in my memory that they
Yeah.
would sort of bring up.
The situation has been so bad that when they announced Call of Duty Vanguard, they didn't even have the Activision logo on that trailer. It said Call of
Yeah.
Duty Presents.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay, that's pretty damning then.
And then
tells
that
you
turned
what
out
it
to
is,
be a
right?
terrible game, so go figure.
Really, a Call
Yeah.
of Duty game being bad, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Color me shocked. What do we think? Do we like?
It sucks
Okay,
that the
let's-
biggest
let's-
it sucks that the biggest game event of the end of the year it's not going to be touching on this at all. And this is coming. This is from an event that called out to Konami because they wouldn't let Kojima come and accept an award.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that too when I read this.
yeah, this is a
Um,
much deeper and more tragic situation, and they're trying to play mum about it because someone from Activision is on their board of members.
If we take Keeley's word for it, like, let's just play devil's advocate for a sec. If we take Keeley at his word, and that we do just want to make it about the video games, do we think that reasoning holds up? Like, do we think that in some ways it should just be about a celebration of the video games, regardless of the controversies around them?
Well, realistically, it'd probably be like, what statement could they say? Like, would the Game Awards be like, oh, well, if Activision or Blizzard win an award, or like be like, well, your office culture is shit, we're not giving you one. Like, it's
So to interject and also play
Yeah.
devil's advocate, what I would like to see is for them to acknowledge the situation and say, we stand with women in these industries. If anyone is having this problem, come forward. Let's raise the issue that this needs to be solved on a fundamental level. It doesn't even have to be about Activision.
Yeah,
It just has to be
Yeah.
acknowledgement of it, and they're going to completely ignore it. So
Yeah, I'm with Josh on that point. They don't even need to acknowledge Activision themselves. They just need to acknowledge the situation and like take the side of we're standing with the people that have been affected. We give you our support because
the literal victims, right?
I don't even think we can play devil's advocate because again he called out Konami before.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not just about the games; it's about the culture of the industry itself as well.
Yeah,
Do you reckon else?
and it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. Like, they should be doing more stuff, and it's probably be the perfect platform for it.
I mean, I feel like not in devil's advocacy or whatever, but I feel like because this is sort of organized and run by, I guess, one guy and sponsors, in one sense, he is kind of free to do what he wants with his awards show. But I feel that the reaction to this will be pretty heavy-handed from everyone that isn't sitting on a board behind him having an active hand in why it's a situation in the first place.
Yeah, people are already calling him a coward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't help but think of it kind of like the almost like the Russian doping scandal with the Olympics, where it's like, here we have a bad actor, because like the thing is, I let's say that they do say something about it, or even let's say they even go further and they remove Activision Blizzard games from even being mentioned at the Video Game Awards. I would feel bad for the people in the industry that have worked for months or years on a project and for it to get no recognition. But that is kind of the same vein as the people that weren't doping in the Russian Olympic team, where it's sort of like something that is driven by executive or leadership, being Activision Blizzard in this case, does have an effect, unfortunately, on people regardless of whether or not they're involved. And I feel like the public reaction to this, in terms of just gut uneasiness about the decision to not make a decision on this, is quite warranted, in the same way that when it came out that Russia was effectively state-sponsored doping a bunch of their athletes, all of them had to get punished, even the ones that weren't involved. And it sucks, but it seemed to be effective at sending a message, at least.
So the stance I've seen people taking is that by not having a side, not talking about this and not taking a side on this, is still actively taking a side, because it's just sweeping everything under a rug, basically. So
Yeah, absolutely.
You're hiding what Activision is doing at this point, and it's a situation where it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, the not taking a side in terms of Activision thing is to do what I said and acknowledge the victims and acknowledge a problem, and then leave it there. But actively choosing not to talk about it is choosing a side, and it's choosing perhaps the wrong one in most people's eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, with YouTube removing the dislike button, how will they know?
Yeah, exactly.
Christ,
how will the Game Awards know that we don't like their decision?
Yeah.
I mean, the dislike button is there. The number doesn't go up.
Yeah, yeah.
Serotonin doesn't
They
increase.
know.
Yeah,
The viewer
yeah.
doesn't see the number, but the person does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. There's add-ons to bring that back for the record. So if we all
Yeah,
want to
I've
see
already
them
got
suffer-
it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's great. The internet provideth.
And speaking of dislikes, one more news story to go out on,
No.
just to hurt Josh.
No.
Chris Pratt has been confirmed to voice the Grinch in the ABC shorts for the story.
That's it. I hate the Grinch now. Time to move on.
Oh, that's crazy. That's almost like what the point of the story of the Grinch is.
Sounding
the
pretty
Grinch
Grinchy
is
yourself
designed to
there.
be. Yeah, I guess whatever, man. I can't wait till December ends now.
Wait. So does this mean it's now canon for Mario to steal Christmas?
Is the Grinch coming
No.
to Smash?
Garfield steals Christmas.
If it's on a Monday, he would.
We now celebrate Christmas with lasagna.
Garfield steals Christmas by kidnapping Princess Peach. This is canon now.
It sounds like a really bad Flash game from like my high school days.
Yeah, no, it sounds like Hidden Jump Force DLC.
Yeah, it does.
Quick, put it in the game before it's taken out.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, devs, just trust me. You might not understand, but your kids are gonna love it.
Wow, Back to the Future references and all. We've got it all here, mate.
Oh yeah, got them all. I guess that does bring us to the end of the news section. Audience mailbag time. We actually got something in the mailbag. Oh, we got a couple things in the mailbag actually. The first one was sent in from a person called Josh. It says, "Be nicer to Josh."
Wow. That doesn't sound
No,
right.
thank you for that. But no, we will put that in the paper shredder with the word suggestion box labeled on it. The second thing, sent in by Thomas, number one fan in his email signature. Thought that was kind of cute. Asking us what we think the most overrated game of this year is.
So I actually had a really hard time coming over this, because it feels like this year has been kind of subdued with game releases, and there wasn't really anything stand out for being hyped up. It feels like most things I saw were actually underhyped or underrated. So like we'd see so much of the Guardians of the Galaxy game at every convention. Everyone was kind of getting sick of it, and then it came out and it's suddenly like, oh hey, this game is actually really good. The marketing just kind of sucked for it. Same thing happened with Deathloop. We saw that a bunch. Everyone was just kind of getting sick of it. It came out and everyone's like, oh hey, this game's actually really good. The marketing kind of sucked for it.
Yeah, I think Deathloop was the closest one that I could think of, because I haven't played it, and honestly, from looking at it, it feels like the sort of game that I'd actually really enjoy. But in terms of audience perception to critical reviews, it seems like that one actually does have a bit of a split with people either really liking it or just not getting it. Like, it seems like people are fairly decided on what they think of Deathloop, whether that's a good game or a bad game.
Yeah, so see, I was taking a personal stance with this question, so I wanted to keep it to a game that I had played. And I was thinking Ratchet and Clank, maybe, but for me it lived up to being a really great game. Deathloop I haven't played, so I can't talk about that. So all that really left me with was Guilty Gear Strive. That's a game where I feel like the music's great, the netcode in that game is great, and on a visual level it's great. But I much prefer the last game in terms of gameplay and even in visuals for that. I think that the last Guilty Gear game looked a lot better visually.
Do you reckon New World was a bit overrated? That sort of like dropped, everyone spoke
Absolutely.
about it, and then it like left.
I completely forgot
Absolutely.
about New World
Yeah,
being out.
So did I.
Yeah.
It wasn't on my list, but you know what? That is definitely my choice. I have a short list of ones I was gonna say, but New World by far takes the cake. Oh my god, what a disappointment.
Yeah, because everyone was talking about it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll jump on. I never did. And then like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not playing that anymore. I've jumped back into
Josh,
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy
Josh
or
played
whatever.
it for
I'm
like
with you on
2
that, actually,
days
Steve.
straight.
I absolutely smashed it. I got to the point where I was one of the highest levels on the server within a day. And that's just how I play
So-
MMOs. But then,
Was it just like a lack of continuity, or like why did it suddenly lose your interest?
so there was a few reasons, and the biggest point, to me at least, was that you sort of reach a point where you go, okay, this is where I would expect some kind of story beats or something to kick in an MMO, something to really keep you grinding towards a semblance of a main quest. That main quest just doesn't really exist in New World, and the level gaps just take longer and longer and longer. It was like, we haven't got post-game content, which they didn't, which is why everyone dropped off for 2 weeks after the 2 weeks had finished. So let's try and make this grind as slow as possible. And it just killed the game. So while you absolutely flew through the levels to start with, you start going through different zones. The PvP is fun. All of the skills are really fun. You get like a total of about 3 skills per weapon that you can actively use. By the time you've done that for each weapon, you're like, okay, when am I going to get something new? And it never comes. There's no story,
never
there's
comes.
no new skills, there's no end game. The dungeons were not what you'd expect from an MMO. They were done fairly well, but it was entirely around, rather than having like a healer and a tank and DPS roles, it was kind of like the tank would kind of just run away because no one really knew what to do because you had 3 skills. There was no like active mitigation and cooldowns and stuff you'd use like in other games that really gave it a depth of skill. It was, I'm going to Dark Souls my way through this as the tank, and the healer will do 3 abilities and run out of spells. It was just, it was really just such a subpar game, honestly. Such a disappointment. And yet it was extremely hyped. You know, it was the biggest game on Steam on release day, and there was 10-hour queues for some servers across the world for the first week. And then it just died. So, no, that's definitely a good one.
I guess we have our answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it then.
Flip side, most underrated game this year?
Ooh. Ooh, that is a good one. I think Voice of Cards. I mean, I
Yeah,
shilled it, but yeah.
I'd probably go with Voice of Cards as well. I played the demo for that. It was fantastic, and no one's talked about it since.
Yeah, it seems
no
to
one's
like
talked about it at all.
come in and then sort of left. Deltarune came out, or episode 1 or 2 of Deltarune came out.
I think
Episode
episode 2 came
Episode
out, yeah.
2? Oh. Or maybe it's in episodes format, that's why it didn't hit as well.
Back for Blood was also very overrated in terms of what it was, I think.
I don't think people overrated that though. People weren't that impressed with it and go back to Left 4 Dead 2 and say, yeah, this is much better than Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
It's kind of in this point of it's a good game, but it's not living up to its predecessor.
I'll run through the rest of my short list I had just quickly to get some vibes from you guys. But I thought Pokemon Unite was definitely on my list as well.
I was thinking of putting that on a
Yeah.
short list as well.
The only reason I didn't give that as my answer is because when it came out, people were like, wow, this is just really just baiting the credit card. You know, it went from hype to this is a game despite all its flaws.
Yeah.
And then the new Nier game. I was on my
I-
list. Nier Replicant.
Well,
I
that's just a
don't know if
remake
I'd
of the
call
old one,
that
isn't it?
overrated because that's such a niche market as well.
Yeah.
Is it though? Would you call Nier Automata a niche game?
Near Automata, no.
100%.
Near Automata dragged it out of being niche.
Yeah. It's still very different though, and I get the feeling that
I
the
don't
people
even
that
know if the remake sold well because it doesn't have 2B in it.
yeah, and there was
Yeah.
that whole focus around 2B and sex sells, so buy the game consumers. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this game, I thought it was just overhyped because it was a Nier game. Despite I played the original and didn't really like it, and then I played this one and I was like, this is better, but I still didn't end up finishing it because it was the same game.
I feel like the original Nier has a very small cult following, which is why I couldn't generally classify something with a small cult following as an overrated game.
Fair.
What was that Dungeons and Dragons game that came out this year?
Was it Dungeons and Dragons game that came out this year?
In the Dark Alliance or something. It released on Game Pass and was like trashed.
Oh, I missed that.
Dark Alliance.
I feel like I've
Never
heard
heard
of
of it.
that, but
See-
I haven't seen anything for it.
Okay, well, to give you a scale of, so PC Gamer gave it 82%, but IGN gave it 4 out of 10. And for IGN to give something fucking less than a 7, holy fucking
Oh, a 4 from
shit.
IGN.
Yeah.
That's almost negative.
Far
Yeah.
out.
That's below 7.9. Like, fuck.
Too much water. Must have been a lot of water in that.
Yeah. There's been so much
Yeah.
water.
Must have been underwater.
Yeah. I remember seeing a lot of it, but I think I only saw a lot of it because it was a Game Pass launch game. And then it sort of
Yeah.
launched, and everyone's like, whoa, this is broken. Thanks, Game Pass, for warning me, like, for letting me play.
Making sure I don't buy
Yeah,
this.
like I didn't pay money.
Yeah.
The other one that I thought Patrick would mention is Nickelodeon All Star Brawl.
That one would oh god, the pre-released that was hyped.
It was
to
so
hell.
Yeah.
hyped. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like as soon as it released, everyone sort of agreed that it was going to die.
I suppose the question was overrated, so I guess it not really overrated, is it?
Yeah, well,
Overhyped.
I think I think hype to delivery, it's certainly near the top of that list, but I wouldn't really consider that an overhyped game, just because once we had the game in front of us, people were like,
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I was
no."
getting that impression like after the third character trailer.
where none of the characters say anything.
Yeah. And all the
Uh.
animations were looking very stiff or very fast.
Yeah, that whole. Feel bad for the
Can't wait
developers.
for multiverses.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Yeah, multiverses. Right, cool. I think that was a pretty good answering of that question. Yeah, if anyone else out there listening have questions they want us to answer, or to tell specifically someone that isn't me why they're wrong, feel free to email us at. Really should have prepared that. fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Not missing the L, right? Not like the Twitter handle.
No.
No,
Not
no,
missing
this has every letter.
This has every letter. Fantastic.
No character limits on this one.
Every letter in the alphabet?
Yes.
As if in the wise words of Mufasa, everything the light touches. Shall we do a quick round the lounge for what to expect next week? Starting with you, Josh.
I think more than likely, I think by the time we record, Infinite should be out. So I'll probably end up playing the campaign for that. And then hopefully I'll actually get started on Tales of Arise, which has been out for a while now, but it's been on my to-do list for a little while. So hopefully I can give you some feedback on that.
Sounds good. Seth.
So Final Fantasy 14 just got its 6.0 updates last night. Today I just caught up to being able to start it, so I'll probably come in with some impressions on that.
Exciting stuff. And finally, Steve, what about you?
Definitely Halo Infinite. Cannot wait. Hopefully I'll finish Pokemon. Then I might jump in and play Kingdom Hearts 2 because I need to play Kingdom Hearts 3. And because I want to go back and replay everything. I'm going back and playing 2 and then Birth by Sleep and then Coded and then 2.8 and then Dream
Whoa,
Drop Distance.
you're missing one in this list. What about was it Chain of Memories? The one in
Chain of
between
Memories
one
is
and two?
before 2,
Yeah,
so
so
he must
Chain-
have already
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
through it.
I've already gone through Chain of Memories.
You've already done it. Oh, okay. You're better. You're a better man than I.
Half of that game is really good. it's pretty like, oh wow, this card system's really neat, and then the other half of the game is, okay, I'm fucking sick of it, let me out.
I found out how to abuse the card system. Yeah.
Exactly, and it's like, okay,
So which half of the game is good to you and which half is bad?
the first half. But then like,
Oh man, I'm the opposite. I think the second half as Riku is much better.
I hated the fucking Riku part. It felt like it was all right, it's the same thing. You're already sick of the game. You already sort of know how to cheese it. All the best. And then because you couldn't customize the deck with Riku, it was pretty much like, all right, you can't like
Cheese it in this exact way.
yeah, or that's like you can't build the deck a certain way to focus on magic or summons or something.
My favorite part was when Riku summoned Exodia.
Yes.
Alright.
But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Unfortunately, Sora only has one blue eyes.
Damn. Man, I heard that Kyrie ripped up the other blue eyes and threw them off the boat.
Kari couldn't do anything.
True.
Not even if you tried.
What about Roxas? What about Namine? You got so many other characters.
I don't know why I went with Kyrie. I really don't.
Because you've only played Kingdom Hearts 1
No, I've played Kingdom Hearts 3 and I played
to completion.
Please say you played Kingdom Hearts 2.
I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2 because
Fucking
I
hell.
can't get through the card game. Every time I
You don't
start it, I'm
have-
like, I hate this.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you're not missing much. Like there is some weird
we'll
story
talk about it
beats.
next week.
Yeah. All right, anyway, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Long story short.
Cool. Who is right? Do you think the first half or the second half is better? Do you want to tell Seth and or Steve that they're wrong? Email us, fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Had to get that one in there. That brings us to the end of episode 5. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.